A sudden chill runs through her as she sleeps, a cold so deep it pulls her from her dreams. She had just been reading a book. Groping in the darkness, she searches for the missing warmth of her comforter. It's not where it should be. Her mind, still half asleep, wonders if the blanket simply fell to the floor. She opens her eyes with a playful blink, not yet realizing her situation. The world around her is not her bedroom. The shock hits her as she realizes she's somewhere entirely different, far from the novel she was just reading. A sharp, sudden pain shoots through her leg, grounding her in this bizarre new reality. She looks at her own body in disbelief, confused by the strange and unfamiliar clothes she is now wearing. This is getting stranger by the second. Prioritizing her immediate safety, she decides to assess her injuries first. The confusion can wait. She overhears voices nearby, discussing her recent fainting spell with scorn. They believe it was a deliberate act. Their words are sharp and laced with jealousy. They mock the deer spirit, Luling, for her desperate attempts to seduce the Lion Lord, Shimeng. The names spark a terrifying realization. Lion Lord, Deer Spirit, Luling, these are characters from the story she fell asleep reading. She recalls her friend's nagging insistence that she read this novel. The coincidence of sharing a name with a character felt trivial at the time. She remembers her apprehension after reading reviews. The character sharing her name was a doomed side character, fated for a tragic and vicious end. Despite her reservations, her friend's persistence won out, and she had started reading Another World Beast Lover. The pieces click into place with chilling certainty. The scene unfolding before her is identical to the plot of the novel. A wave of panic crashes over her. She's become Lu Ling, the villainess destined for an early grave. A brutal threat is delivered with a tight grip, a warning to stay away from the Lion Lord. Terrified, she can only agree to leave. Situation, Revolvos can to only keep her head agree down to and leave avoid conflict. Survival is her only goal now. As she tries to retreat, she stumbles backward into a hard wall of a man. His cynical remark about her intentions only deepens her panic. The Lion Lord, Shimeng, holds her fast, his expression a mixture of amusement and contempt. She struggles, pleading for release from his painful grip. He leans in, his voice a low threat, misinterpreting her fear as a twisted game. Her terror escalates as she tells him to get away. Trapped in his arms, she can't comprehend the appeal of such a forceful, arrogant man. His popularity in the novel now seems utterly baffling. He seems intrigued by her sudden resistance, a change from her usual behavior. He finds this new defiance interesting. His sheer strength is overwhelming, a physical manifestation of his power that steals the air from her lungs. She is utterly helpless. The Catwomen halt, sensing a shift in the air. An immense power, equal to their lord's, is rapidly approaching. Even the Lion Lord is taken aback by the strength of the newcomer's presence. He releases his grip, his attention diverted. Free at last, she despairs at her situation, questioning the author's romanticization of such a brutish and rude hero. The Lion Lord confronts the mysterious newcomer, Snake Shadow, demanding to know his purpose here. The man, Shaying, declares his mission without hesitation. He has come for his partner. The Lion Lord understands immediately. The newcomer has come for the deer spirit. A flicker of hope ignites within her. Could this powerful stranger be her rescuer? Shaying stakes his claim on the deer spirit, his tone firm and unyielding. He is here to take her away. He scoops her into his arms, issuing a direct challenge to the Lion Lord. A confrontation seems inevitable. Anger flashes across the Lion Lord's face, but he is pragmatic. A fight with an equal over this particular female is a risk not worth taking. He carries her away from the tense standoff, his actions decisive even as she remains confused and in pain. The Lion Lord watches them depart, seething with frustration. He grudgingly lets them go, but promises himself this won't be the end of it. In her savior's arms, she recognizes him as the true male lead from the book. Up close, his handsomeness is undeniable. His cold threat shatters her brief admiration. Her rescuer is just as terrifying as the last one. Seeing her shock, he offers a simple, stoic reassurance. He will not harm her. His warning, however, is clear. His protection is not without conditions. He can still cause her pain if he chooses. As they reach his cave, he sets her down, but she protests. Every part of her body still aches from her ordeal. His command is simple and direct. Despite her fear, she finds herself complying without argument. To her surprise, this stoic man is making a comfortable place for her to rest. Perhaps he is not as harsh as he seems. He gently places her down, his words a stern reminder of her own fragility in this dangerous world. Despite his gruff exterior, she finds comfort in his care. His stubborn way of helping feels unexpectedly sweet. He tends to her injuries, his touch surprisingly gentle. He doesn't understand her inability to remain still. The pain makes her flinch, and she is reminded of her own weakness. She is no match for the powerful beasts in this world. He instructs her to endure the pain quietly. His focus is entirely on treating the wound. His handsome face is a dizzying distraction, but it does little to alleviate the one thing she truly fears: pain. His closeness is unnerving, yet there's an undeniable sweetness to his focused care. The strange sensation of his breath on her skin makes her recoil. The intimacy of the gesture is too much, and she demands he release her. He seems confused by her reaction, reminding her of his favor. To him, this is a natural act of care. His closeness is distracting, and she realizes he's even more handsome than the novel described. Still, she tries to maintain her distance emotionally. This is her new reality. She has been transported into the world of a story. She has become Lu Ling, a character whose reputation she must now bear. And this man, Shang, is the hero of the entire tale. The book was incredibly popular, largely due to its romantic and compelling hero, Snake Shadow. His unwavering love for the original story's heroine was the core of the novel's appeal. His character captured the hearts of countless readers, making him an idealized partner. In her opinion, however, the central romance wasn't the only reason for the book's popularity. The true draw was the appeal of a powerful, domineering male lead like Snake Shadow. She confesses her own weakness for him. He was always her favorite character in the novel. The plot flashes through her mind. The original Lu Ling was his treacherous fiancé, who only used him to get his winter supplies. Her betrayal went even further, as she conspired with others against him behind his back. The character she now inhabits was, by all accounts, a truly terrible person. The original Lu Ling story ended in abandonment and death, a footnote in the hero's epic romance. But she remembers a key plot point. In these early stages, the hero is vulnerable. Overwhelmed by her character's villainy, she resolves to change her fate. She must atone for the original sins, starting with an apology. Gathering her courage, she tries to explain her actions, hoping he will listen. He cuts her off with a cold, possessive threat. He will not tolerate hearing another man's name from her lips. Defiance bubbles up, and she starts to assert her right to speak freely. He silences her protest with a kiss, and the sudden shock sends her heart racing. He calmly informs her this is his way of handling things. The threat is repeated, now with a clear demonstration of what he means. She is left speechless. His sheer handsomeness overwhelms her again. She cannot fathom why the original Lu Ling would choose anyone else. The moment is interrupted by commotion from outside the cave. Someone has returned from a hunt, but the celebration is cut short by crisis. The young patriarch is poisoned, and Snake Shadow is their only hope. The victim of the poisoning is in agony, his condition worsening. A child begs for Snake Shadow's intervention, explaining the dire situation with the tribe's young patriarch. The title Young Patriarch catches both of their attention, signaling the importance of the injured man. Without hesitation, Snake Shadow agrees to help, his sense of duty overriding all else. Before leaving, he gives her a pointed look, a silent reminder of his previous warning. The young boy feels awkward, realizing he has intruded on a tense, personal moment between the two. He instructs her to rest and recover, promising to resolve the matter of her other suitor upon his return. As her own pain resurfaces, she desperately misses the conveniences of her old world, especially modern medicine. Suddenly, a small, magical creature appears before her, introducing itself as a system named Xiadu, here to assist her. A surge of relief and excitement flows through her. Just like the stories she's read, she has a system to help her navigate this world. Her first priority is clear. She asks her new companion if there's any way to alleviate her suffering. The system acknowledges her request, beginning its search for a solution. In a flash, the system locates a nearby remedy for her pain. She is shocked to realize the solution is the very pouch of herbs Snake Shadow left for her. Xiadu details the properties of the herbs, confirming they are exactly what she needs. She marvels at her good fortune. The system then reveals its primary limitation. Its powerful scanning ability can only be used once per day. Snake Shadow returns, his attention immediately back on her well-being. He delivers the grave news. The young patriarch's life is in danger from a powerful poison. The little system seems emotionally invested, letting out a small sob of distress. Knowing she must help, she offers the herbs he gave her, admitting her own ignorance but willing to try anything. He takes the pouch, ready to test each herb in a desperate attempt to find an antidote. Her system discreetly provides a crucial piece of information, identifying the specific herb that will work. She panics, worried their secret will be exposed, but Zayadu reassures her of its invisibility to others. Armed with this secret knowledge, she confidently declares that she can identify the cure. Her sudden expertise surprises them both, questioning where this knowledge came from. She hands him the specific purple flower, presenting it as the antidote for the spider venom. The boy voices his fear, reminding her that the young patriarch's life hangs in the balance. The risk is enormous. Her system bristles at the doubt, but she remains firm in her conviction, trusting the information she was given. After a moment of silent consideration, Snake Shadow places his complete faith in her, his trust unwavering. The concerned father, Chief Berk Shengtian, watches the proceedings with bated breath. The grateful chief thanks Snake Shadow, who humbly denies the praise. He gives her full credit for the discovery, putting her in the spotlight and forcing the chief to thank her instead. Flustered by the attention, she tries to downplay her role, claiming it was her duty as a member of the tribe. Her old reputation precedes her. A group of women openly mock the idea that she could be helpful, accusing her of manipulation. The weight of her character's past actions crushes her. Her bad reputation is so ingrained that even a genuine act of kindness is met with suspicion. The chief, indebted to her, leaps to her defense, demanding the woman apologize for insulting his son's savior. He understands the political landscape perfectly. Offending Snake Shadow is something their tribe cannot afford. Forced by her chief, the woman offers a reluctant, insincere apology. She chooses the path of least resistance, gracefully accepting the apology to de-escalate the situation. Peace is her priority. The chief removes the troublemaker, muttering about a lesson she will soon learn. Even as they are led away, the woman and the chief continue their petty argument. He notes the other woman's rudeness, a simple observation that shows his attention is on her. He offers her a profound promise of unconditional support, a vow that deeply moves her. She is struck by the irony. The undeserving original character was blessed with this man's unwavering devotion, and yet she had thrown it all away. He notices her distraction, but she quickly deflects, not ready to share her complicated thoughts. She voices her insecurity, questioning what he could possibly see in the flawed character she now inhabits. He challenges her perception, asking her to point out what exactly she thinks he likes. He gently refutes her self-deprecation, refusing to let her speak so poorly of herself. He feels a flicker of a long-lost emotion, a warmth he had forgot. His mind flashes back to their shared childhood, a time of innocence and simple companionship. He remembers her as a beacon of joy and warmth, a radiant presence in his early life. In contrast, his own childhood was marked by cruelty and isolation, targeted for being different. Yet she was always there to protect him, a small but fierce defender against the bullies. Her simple words of acceptance were a balm to his lonely heart, a defense of his very nature. Her kindness was a small gesture that meant the world to him, changing his entire perspective. From that day forward, he resolved to hold onto that warmth she gave him. However, a tragic event changed her completely, twisting the bright girl he knew into someone else entirely. The warmth was gone, replaced by a cutting indifference that he couldn't understand. Her open disdain for him was a constant source of pain, but he held onto the belief that this wasn't her true self. He tells the woman before him that she is not always like this, recognizing a flicker of the girl he once knew. She makes a private vow to herself, determined not to repeat the original's mistakes. She internally separates herself from her character's past. She is a new person in this body. Her focus is now solely on surviving and building a new life for herself. Given a second chance, she is determined to forge a new reputation, one of dignity and strength. She is grateful for his protection, but understands she must find a way to stand on her own. As she resolves to become independent, he sees the return of the strong, spirited girl he always believed in. He accepts her newfound determination with a gentle smile, renewing his vow to protect her, whatever the future holds. He holds her, eager to witness her transformation. She, flustered, tries to maintain a semblance of composure. News spreads through the tribe that the young patriarch has recovered, bringing widespread relief and joy. He wakes, disoriented but alive, his last memory that of the spider's bite. He seeks the name of his savior. The child reluctantly reveals the identity of his rescuer, bracing for a negative reaction. He reacts with disbelief and suspicion, convinced her act of kindness must be part of another manipulative scheme. Furious, he marches off to confront her, demanding an explanation. Snake Shadow intercepts him, calmly advising him to rest rather than seek confrontation. He refuses to listen, his anger boiling over as he accuses her of deception. He tries to turn Snake Shadow against her, citing her long history of deceit and manipulation. A sudden, terrible realization dawns on her. She has overlooked a crucial part of the novel's plot. She recalls the scene from the book. After failing with the Lion Lord, the original Lu Ling immediately targeted the young patriarch. She is trapped by the actions of her predecessor, facing accusations for a crime she didn't commit in this life. It's profoundly unfair. He refuses to believe in her altruism, demanding to know the selfish motive behind her actions. Snake Shadow firmly positions himself as her protector, shielding her from the aggressive accusations. He asserts his claim, leaving no room for argument. She is caught in the middle of a tense love triangle standoff, a situation fraught with peril. He pressures her to explain herself, putting the onus on her to resolve the conflict her predecessor created. The intensity of their rivalry is frightening. She feels cornered, with no easy way out. He realizes he must find a way to sever the ties to her, past self completely. She decides she can no longer endure living under the shadow of the original Lu Ling's reputation. She blurts out an unexpected confession, leaving both of her suitors momentarily speechless. She declares a new purpose for herself, renouncing her past obsessions and focusing on practical survival and contribution. Her sudden change of heart is met with deep skepticism. He can't believe she's capable of anything other than manipulating men. She articulates her new philosophy. Her focus has shifted from selfish desires to the well-being of the entire tribe. She reflects that survival is the root of all conflict here. With her knowledge, she can provide a better way. Her passionate speech leaves him stunned, unable to counter her newfound resolve. Reaffirming her bond, she places her trust in him to support her new path. She officially cuts ties with her past behavior, offering a sincere apology and a promise of change. He is left with a confusing mix of relief and disappointment. A part of him misses the attention. He falls back on his pride, dismissing her change as another ploy and reaffirming his disdain for her. Back in the cave, she is bewildered by his sudden affectionate and possessive gesture. His cheerful mood is palpable, and she can't help but ask for the reason. He confesses his joy at her decision and pledges his full support for her ambitions, sealing his promise with an intimate gesture. While touched, she reasserts her desire for independence, wanting to achieve things on her own merit. Her happiness is short-lived as a dreadful thought occurs. The story's true female lead is due to arrive soon. The canon pairing of the novel is Snake Shadow and the heroine, a future that seems immutable. Her future is precarious. The original Lu Ling's fate was sealed by her conflict with the heroine, a conflict that now seems unavoidable. The original Lu Ling was a scapegoat for the tribe's frustrations, and the beloved heroine's appearance sealed her doom. A chilling thought strikes her. If she doesn't fundamentally change her public image, she will be powerless to alter her tragic fate. Her fear manifests as a physical tremor, which he misinterprets as a simple chill. Pushing her dark thoughts aside, she focuses on her plan, asking for his help in gathering winter provisions. Her strategy is clear. To survive, she must become an indispensable asset to the tribe. He consents to her request, his concern for her safety evident. He is still protective, questioning the necessity of a dangerous nighttime journey up the mountain. She confidently reaffirms her purpose and her capability, determined to prove her newfound self-reliance. Her confidence and resolve make her appear more beautiful than ever in his eyes. Once on the mountain, she puts her plan into action, utilizing her secret weapon to find resources. The system provides a wealth of information, revealing the forest to be a treasure trove of resources. Zayadu happily directs her to the nearest and most valuable finds, confirming the success of her plan. Triumphant, she calls out to him, eager to share her discovery. But Zayadu belatedly warns her of a territorial mother goose guarding the nest. They are in immediate danger. She panics, frustrated with her system's forgetfulness. Its apology does little to calm her nerves. After the encounter, her immediate concern is for his safety. He shrugs off the attack, his pride and strength unshaken. She remains concerned, inspecting him for any injuries he might be hiding. Her genuine concern prompts him to question the depth of her feelings. Flustered, she gives a simple, heartfelt answer. A gentle command asks her not to feel guilty, but her eyes reveal a deep, lingering sorrow. Snake Shadow declares her his and vows to protect her with his life. It is a simple, undeniable fact to him. Overwhelmed by his declaration, she is silenced by a sudden, possessive kiss. Flustered and blushing, she can only wonder at the reason behind his abrupt passion. He calmly explains that her gaze was a clear invitation, leaving no room for misunderstanding in his mind. After her flustered denial, he gently warns her. If she doesn't want to be kissed, she must not look at him with such eyes. The temptation she presents is too strong. He admits that her gaze makes him lose all control. Internally, she is a whirlwind of flustered excitement, completely overwhelmed by his smooth and confident flirting. From the shadows, another woman watches with burning jealousy, lamenting that her beloved male is falling for that wretched deer spirit. She discovers a field of valuable herbs, relieved that the system's information was true, and excitedly calls for Snake Shadow. As Snake Shadow appears behind her, she playfully presents her findings, a triumphant glint in her eye. He holds her, dismissing her precious find as worthless weeds that the tribe simply discards. Her hopeful expression falters. Misunderstanding her purpose, he scoops her into his arms, promising to take her to a place with actual food. She struggles, telling him to put her down. She tries to correct his assumption, clarifying that her quest is for medicinal herbs, not simple sustenance. The concept of gathering herbs seems foreign to him. All she wants is for him to let her go so she can explain. His grip is clumsy and unfamiliar, and for a moment, she fears she is about to fall. A blush creeps across his face as he admits his lack of experience in holding women. He resolves there will be no next time for such a mistake. She finds his clumsy apology and admitted innocence surprisingly endearing. A genuine smile touches her lips. Despite his rough exterior, his simple honesty makes her feel a profound and unexpected warmth. He notices her red face and worries he has hurt her. She quickly deflects, steering the conversation back to the task at hand. As she passionately explains the herb's many benefits, from curing colds to regulating health, he can only think of how cute his female is. Her eyes shine with purpose. With this discovery, she can protect the tribe from sickness in the future. A sudden, strange noise frightens her, and she instinctively seeks his protection. He calmly identifies the sound of a large cat. Peeking through the foliage, she sees two tigers mating. She's astonished that he would refer to such powerful creatures so casually. He sees a practical opportunity in the moment, suggesting they can observe the big cats mating without any danger to themselves. She is shocked by his suggestion to watch. He explains it as a chance to learn, as each species has different mating rituals. He leans in, whispering a specific observation. Biting a partner's neck is an effective way to keep them from escaping at the peak of excitement. He explains that his kind, the snake orcs, are intensely possessive. Once they choose a mate, they desire to be with her constantly. The conversation takes a startlingly direct turn as he asks for her preference. She is too stunned to respond. Fleeing in a state of utter shock, she marvels at how directly beastmen express their desires, a concept that makes her blush furiously. As a modern woman, she's ill-equipped for this. She must decide whether to flee from Snake Shadow or risk being completely consumed by him. He puts his strength to use, helping her prepare the herbs she collected. The task is finally underway. She finds the primitive stone knives frustratingly difficult to handle. An iron knife would make her work so much simpler. She remembers the tribe's communal rules. All gathered food is shared, with leftovers distributed by the patriarch. This turns public goods into private property. This raises a critical question in her mind. Does the booplerum she found belong to the tribe, or is it hers alone? A small child rushes toward them, shouting their names. His small size and speed make her momentarily mistake him for a mouse. The boy delivers his message. The young patriarch calls for everyone to gather for the monthly food distribution before it runs out. The young patriarch presents Snake Shadow with his share, a generous portion befitting his status as a level 4 warrior. In stark contrast, her own portion is small and unappetizing. She looks on, sweat dropping in disbelief. The blatant inequality shocks her. She had assumed the food was divided equally among all tribe members. A cat-like woman scoffs, pointing out that deer spirit contributes nothing to the tribe but trouble. She argues that even this paltry share is more than she deserves. The harsh reality dawns on her. It's not a commune, Resources are allocated based on contribution, not shared equally. Without hesitation, Snake Shadow offers his entire hard-earned portion to her. From this day forward, what is his belongs to her. The rival fumed silently. Snake Shadow risked his life for that food, only to waste it on a useless female who has done nothing to earn it. The woman explains the fairness of the system, designed to motivate everyone. She then sarcastically points out the irony of the least contributor receiving the greatest reward. Tigress Na declares it all unfair. If seducing powerful males is the key to getting more food, then she, too, will play that game. She immediately sidles up to the young patriarch, putting her new strategy into motion with a flirtatious wink. He looks distinctly uncomfortable. He quickly removes her hand, reminding her that he has no interest in being touched by females. Scorned, she snaps back with a warning about his future needs. Regardless, she vows that Dear Spirit will not get away with taking Snake Shadow's provisions. Cutting through the argument, Dear Spirit offers a simple solution. She will join the gathering group and earn her own keep. Her proposition is met with shock. Though she knows she might slow them down, she is determined to contribute. Her true motive is twofold. The gathering team is for the weak, but more importantly, joining it is the perfect way to avoid Snake Shadow's constant, overwhelming presence. She puts on a brave face, cheerfully promising to learn quickly and not be a burden, despite having no experience in gathering. The young patriarch is baffled. After being so thoroughly insulted by Tigress Na, she isn't angry at all. She's smiling. Her first day on the job, and she has already failed. A wave of panic washes over her as she realizes she overslept. A connection is remembered, a touch that signifies a promise. He holds her close, reminding her to stay safe now that he won't be there to protect her. She knows she must hurry, but she listens. He offers her a choice. If the work is too much, she can simply return to him, and he will provide for her without question. His unwavering support and gentle consideration completely disarm her. How can he be so caring? He finishes speaking, but doesn't let go. His grip a silent testament to his reluctance to see her leave. She knew it. He wasn't just talking. He was going to force another kiss on her before she could leave. He seems puzzled by her reaction. She tells him this is far enough and that he can return home now. She must escape. Her heart pounds with the need to put distance between them before he overpowers her again. Her lateness does not go unnoticed. An older woman chides her for keeping the entire gathering party waiting. Seeing her rival already making a move on Snake Shadow, she apologizes and declares there won't be a next time, effectively ending their morning encounters. Speed Goat seizes her chance, confessing her affection for Snake Shadow. But he only feels regret, realizing he was the one who made Dear Spirit feel wronged. She boldly proposes they have a child together. His expression hardens, clearly uncomfortable with her advances. From afar, the scene unfolds. She understands immediately. Another female is confessing her love to Snake Shadow. He rejects the advance, stating he already has a partner. When she insults Dear Spirit, he coldly tells her it is not her place to judge. Speed Goat resorts to slander, bringing up some past incident with a Lion Lord. The accusation leaves Dear Spirit utterly confused. As he walks away without another word, a knot of anxiety tightens in her stomach. Surely he wouldn't be fooled by such obvious lies. She clings to him, whispering poison in his ear, trying to convince him that Dear Spirit's affection is fleeting while hers is true. Her moment of distraction is broken by Tigress Na, who snaps at her for daydreaming instead of moving. Tigress Na impatiently drags her away from the scene, telling her to mind her own business. But she can't help but worry about what Speed Goat is doing. She panics internally, frustrated that she was forced to leave just as the critical confrontation was unfolding. The doubt gnaws at her. Will he believe the lies? Will Speed Goat's words poison him against her? As she's pulled away with the group, her mind races with unanswered questions about what is happening behind her. She tries to focus on gathering food for winter, but her mind is elsewhere, consumed with thoughts of Speed Goat and Snake Shadow. She reasons that this is for the best. It would solve her problem. Yet, the thought of him with someone else brings a surprising and unwelcome sadness. Speed Goat finally returns, her expression unreadable. She apologizes for the delay, leaving everyone in suspense. She studies Speed Goat's face, desperate for a clue, but finds nothing. The uncertainty is maddening. Her thoughts are a tangled mess, a knot of confusion and anxiety that she cannot begin to unravel. Speed Goat proudly displays some mushrooms, noting that they would have been too scared to pick them without an expert present. The remark feels pointed. A jolt of terror runs through her as she recognizes the mushrooms. She screams out a warning. They are deadly poisonous. Speed Goat dismisses her warning with folk wisdom, arguing that only colorful mushrooms are poisonous. Her companion nods in agreement. She struggles to find the words, but the certainty of the danger is absolute. She insists they must not be eaten. She details the terrifying nature of the toxin, a slow, deceptive poison that leads to certain death in a matter of days. The memory is vivid, pulled from her past life. She recalls learning about this deadly fungus after a friend nearly died from the same mistake. The purple-haired woman gasps in horror. The timeline, the symptoms, it all matches a recent, mysterious death in the tribe. Speed Goat explodes with indignation, refusing to believe such a ridiculous story. The accusation is baseless nonsense. Twisting the truth, Speed Goat accuses her of jealousy and malice, then violently shoves her toward the edge of a cliff. As she plummets through the air, her thoughts are a strange mix of terror and vanity. She wonders if this is the end. In her final moments, a desperate plea escapes her. Let death be a ticket back to her own time. Her fall is broken by a young cat-like beastman. He's ecstatic, believing her arrival is a divine gift, his destined mate, delivered by the heavens. Dazed and confused, she registers his words, caught on one in particular. What does he mean by estrus? He marvels at her beauty, overjoyed that the partner sent to him by the gods is the most beautiful female he has ever seen. She struggles in his arms, vehemently denying his claim. She is not his partner, and he must let her go. She pushes against him, but there is no sound, no impact. A strange silence hangs in the air. His confident demeanor vanishes, replaced by a blushing, inexperienced boy who has no idea what to do next. She is at a loss for words. He finally connects the dots, asking if she was pushed. She remains silent, uncertain of this stranger who saved her. His protective instincts flare up, angry that someone would harm her. She quietly explains the conflict that led to her fall. Leopard Bound proudly puffs out his chest, vowing to protect her from all bullies. He boasts of his great strength, a warrior who can fight 10 men. He falters under her gaze, suddenly shy. She is still trembling from her ordeal, but his earnestness is reassuring. He moves to demonstrate his power, but his aggressive posture alarms her. She quickly concedes, begging him to back away. She is stunned. For a brief moment, she felt an overwhelmingly powerful aura radiating from the boy. He relents, promising not to touch her, but his mercy comes with a price. He looks at her with desperate, pleading eyes and asks for her help with his estrus. This is too much. Trapped and terrified by the bizarre request, she can only scream for the one person who might save her. Snake Shadow. As if summoned by her desperate plea, Snake Shadow appears, his expression dark with concern. A witness points her finger, accusing Speed Goat directly. The white-haired woman frantically denies it, claiming it was just an accident. Panic sets in. She pleads with the witness to keep quiet, terrified of the patriarch's judgment. Snake Shadow's voice cuts through the air, cold and menacing. He demands to know what they are hiding, promising consequences for their silence. He grabs the culprit, his eyes blazing with fury. He demands to know exactly what she did to dear Spirit. The witness can't hold it in any longer and blurts out the truth. The news hits Snake Shadow with the force of a physical blow. Speed Goat scrambles to control the narrative, desperately trying to silence her friend and maintain the flimsy lie of an accident. His gaze is lethal as he delivers a chilling promise. If dear Spirit is harmed, there will be nowhere for her to run. Defeated, she can only watch him leave. She cannot comprehend his loyalty to a female she sees as utterly worthless. Her despair turns to rage. She swears that one day, he will be the one on his knees, begging for her forgiveness. She shoves him away, her patience gone. She is not his partner, and she will not help him with his problem. His eyes well up with tears, hurt by her rejection. He insists his inexperience doesn't mean a lack of devotion. The rapid switch from threatening predator to crying child is deeply unsettling. How can one person be both so scary and so cute? He begs her to reconsider, but she stands firm. His culture may allow females multiple partners, but that is not her way. She uses her partner as an anchor, a reason she must leave this increasingly uncomfortable situation immediately. His aggression melts away as quickly as it came. He grabs onto her, his voice small as he admits he was wrong. He pleads with her not to abandon him, promising to find his own mate and stop bothering her if she'll just stay. She falters, Despite everything, she can't bring herself to abandon someone so childlike and vulnerable in the wilderness. She sets her terms. She will take him with her, but only if he solemnly swears to find his own partner and leave her alone. He eagerly agrees. He agrees to her terms with a triumphant smile. Patience is key. By staying close to her, he is certain he will eventually win her over. Believing she has solved the problem, she warmly invites him to join her, completely unaware of his hidden agenda. He can barely contain his glee. His mother's advice was sound. The patient hunter always gets his prey. Snake Shadow materializes before them, his expression unreadable but his voice laced with suspicion as he asks about the boy. All her fear and anxiety melt away in a rush of relief. She throws herself into his arms, finally feeling safe. He holds her gently, a soft smile gracing his lips. He checks her over, relieved to find she is unharmed. Cradling her protectively, he points a dismissive finger at the newcomer and asks who the child is, earning a glare of fury. The boy's pride is stung. He shouts indignantly that he is a grown adult, not a child. She explains the situation, telling Snake Shadow that the boy saved her life. She has given her word to bring him back to the tribe. Snake Shadow's refusal is absolute. He can smell the boy's intentions, and they are not pure. He will not allow this new rival to get close to her. The boy watches them, recognizing the possessive, domineering aura of a chosen mate. This, he realizes, is his competition. Leopard Bound tries to negotiate, insisting he can take care of himself. All he asks is to be allowed to visit her sometimes. Finding a mate in the wild is nearly impossible. If he loses this chance, he knows he may be doomed to wander alone for the rest of his life. Snake Shadow is unimpressed. He can't believe such a shameless, flirty male exists among the orcs. Seeing the tension between them, she tries to intercede, hoping to reason with Snake Shadow. He sweeps her into his arms, ending the discussion. He forbids her from thinking about any male but him. Left behind, Leopard Bound watches them go, his heart breaking. He can only whisper a sad farewell. She looks back at the dejected boy, and her heart aches. Can she really just abandon him like this? Despite Snake Shadow's obvious disapproval, she makes her decision. She turns to him and insists they take the boy with them. He argues against her decision, insisting that orcs have strong survivability. The boy will be fine on his own. She doesn't care about orc survivability. The fact remains that he saved her life, and she cannot repay that debt by abandoning him. She pleads with him, her eyes begging for his understanding. He finally relents, sealing his silent agreement with a kiss. Leopard Bound watches, his fists clenched in fury. That man dared to kiss his sister. Snake Shadow turns to the boy, a smug look on his face, and informs him that he no longer has a chance. Flustered, she can only agree. She formally invites Leopard Bound to return with them. In the background, Snake Shadow stews, arms crossed in silent disapproval. He allows it for now, confident in his own plan. Once they are back in the tribe, he will ensure this boy never gets near his female again. The boy has his own strategy. Once inside the tribe, he will win her over completely, leaving this arrogant snake man with nothing. She has barely set foot back in the village when Tigress Na accosts her, screaming an accusation about the poisonous mushrooms. Snake Shadow intervenes just as Tigress Na's hand flies up. The Catwoman furiously claims that Deer Spirit's actions drove Speed Goat to suicide. She is stunned. She was the victim, pushed from a cliff, yet somehow she's being blamed for her attacker's subsequent actions. A crowd has gathered around a fallen man named Ollie. With the old priest gone, there is no one left with the knowledge to cure him. He is as good as dead. Speed Goat defends herself, claiming her mushrooms are safe. She subtly shifts the blame, suggesting Ollie might have been poisoned by something else entirely. Playing the martyr, Speed Goat makes a show of running to her death. She cries that since everyone believes the outsider, she has nothing left to live for. The young patriarch approaches, his face grim. He demands a straight answer from her about Speed Goat's accusations. Snake Shadow shields her, his loyalty unwavering. The patriarch counters that regardless of the truth, a tribeswoman is about to die. The scene is chaos. Speed Goat's family pleads with her, while the dying man's kin fuel her despair, rushes to the directing all their victims' anger at Side and Deer Spirit. She rushes to the victim's side and sees the telltale hallucinations. She knows that without immediate intervention, he will surely die. A closer look confirms her fears. He is delirious, and she can see traces of the mushroom. The poison is already well advanced. Speed Goat supporters rail against her, accusing her of cruelty. She feigns despair, wondering why Dear Spirit hates her so much. A man lunges at her, enraged, but his fist is caught midair. Leopard Bound has stepped forward to intercept the blow. Leopard Bound recognizes the man as one of her attackers. He turns to her, his eyes asking for permission to act. He doesn't wait for an answer. The logic is simple in his mind. Those who harm his sister must be eliminated. He stands before them, a formidable shield. He declares that no one will bully his woman as long as he draws breath. She grabs his arm, stopping him. Violence is not the answer, and she urges him not to hurt anyone. He is baffled by her mercy. Why would she protect the very people who tried to harm her? It makes no sense to him. She explains the tribe's laws. Violence would only lead to his exile. He relents, realizing he must be more careful for the sake of his small woman. He decides she is right, but for the wrong reasons. Killing in public would scare her. It's much better to do it discreetly. The young patriarch stares at the newcomer, sensing a chilling, murderous aura unlike anything he has ever encountered. Who is this boy? She addresses the young patriarch directly, stating her innocence and offering to prove it. He is skeptical but willing to listen. Her plan is bold. She will not only identify the poison, but also cure the victim, proving her knowledge and good intentions beyond any doubt. Snake Shadow returns, efficiently providing the brine she requested for the cure. She asks for Snake Shadow's help to position the dying man. The time to act is now. Leopard Bound immediately steps between them, jealously blocking Snake Shadow from getting too close to his sister. The two males lock eyes, a silent battle of wills. The newcomer insists that this is not a task for a mere guest. He fumes internally. This other male is far too diligent, always finding a way to get her attention. Dejected and pushed to the side, he can only watch, desperately trying to think of a way to make himself useful to her. She gives him a task, remembering the first aid procedures from her past life. Every step is crucial. She visualizes the procedure, flushing the stomach with saline and inducing vomiting until the toxin is cleared. Lacking modern medical supplies, she must improvise. A weak salt solution will have to suffice. He returns, beaming with pride, holding up the perfect stick for the procedure. He has proven his usefulness. All the components are in place. With a determined smile, she prepares to begin the life-saving procedure. The crowd murmurs with doubt. They cannot understand her strange methods. How can drinking salt water possibly help? Her rivals whisper anxiously, certain her bizarre cure is actually a form of torture that will only hasten Aoi's death. Speed Goat sees her opportunity. If this fails and Aoi dies, she can use his death to forever brand Dear Spirit as a killer. The young patriarch voices the crowd's doubt, demanding a guarantee that her strange cure will actually work. She is trapped. Failure means being slandered by Speed Goat, but success is far from certain. She honestly admits she cannot offer a guarantee. But the alternative, doing nothing while a man dies, is something her conscience will not allow. Looking the patriarch in the eye, she reaffirms her decision. Regardless of the outcome, she has to try her best. He takes her hand, his quiet strength a source of comfort. He tells her simply that if she wants to try, she should. He turns to the patriarch, his voice firm. The man is dying anyway, so what is there to lose? But the patriarch worries about the political fallout. He pulls her into his embrace, declaring that he will take full responsibility for the consequences. As her partner, her burdens are his to bear. Convinced by Snake Shadow's declaration, the young patriarch finally gives his consent. He waves his hand and tells her to proceed. With the tribe's permission secured, she continues her work, instructing her helpers to proceed with the next step of the cure. A tribesman voices his concern to the young patriarch over their dwindling salt supply. The patriarch, however, insists that saving a life is more important than rationing their resources. Aoi awakens, disoriented and still sick from the poison, recounting a strange hallucination. The young patriarch looks on, his expression filled with concern for Aoi's well-being. He clarifies his lingering symptoms, explaining that his stomach is still upset and he feels nauseous. Dear Spirit feels a wave of relief, realizing her treatment was successful. She explains that his nausea is a normal reaction and outlines a simple path to a full recovery. The women of the tribe are filled with awe and gratitude for Dear Spirit. Her repeated successes have elevated her status in their eyes, proving her more capable than their old priest. A desperate woman approaches, her heart heavy with worry for her sick grandmother. The persistent illness has wasted her away, and she places all her hope in Dear Spirit's healing abilities. Dear Spirit confidently identifies the ailment and radiates assurance. She promises to deliver medicine that will cure the woman's grandmother and restore her to health. Overwhelmed with relief, the woman expresses her profound gratitude. Dear Spirit's promise of a cure has lifted a terrible weight from her shoulders. The tribeswomen who once doubted Dear Spirit are forced to reconsider their judgment. They now recognize her strength and kindness, professing their newfound and complete admiration. Watching from a distance, Speed Goat seethes with pure rage and disbelief. She cannot understand how her plan failed or why Dear Spirit is being celebrated for saving the man she wanted dead. Dear Spirit turns to face the young patriarch and the resentful Speed Goat. She calmly announces that she has brought the proof he demanded. She reveals the damning evidence, the poisonous mushrooms from Ai's stomach. This is irrefutable proof of how he was poisoned. A grim satisfaction settles over Dear Spirit. The treatment not only saved a life, but also exposed the culprit scheme for all to see, making denial impossible. She looks to the young patriarch, her innocence now clear. He recognizes the mushroom, connecting it to Speed Goat and the other mysterious deaths that have plagued their tribe. The young patriarch is struck by a powerful realization about Dear Spirit's transformation. Her focus has shifted from him to the well-being of their people, a change he can no longer ignore. With her name cleared, Dear Spirit radiates confidence and demands justice. She looks to the young patriarch, expecting him to act. The concept of fairness seems to catch the young patriarch off guard, leaving him momentarily speechless and confused. Her anger flares as she recounts the treachery she faced. She accuses Speed Goat of attempting to murder her and then slandering her name to cover the crime. A flicker of guilt crosses Speed Goat's face, but she quickly masks it with indignant denial. She tries to dismiss the serious accusation as baseless nonsense. Dear Spirit stands her ground, unimpressed by the lies. She has no more patience for arguments or deception. A powerful man named Snake Shadow arrives, validating Dear Spirit's story. He confirms he found her at the base of the mountain, while a small child with him points directly at Speed Goat as the culprit. Cornered, Speed Goat changes tactics, arguing that Dear Spirit is ultimately unharmed. She projects an image of pure innocence, as if it were all just a misunderstanding. Her brother, Leopard Bound, interjects with fury, revealing his role in the rescue. If not for him, his sister would have been crushed to death by the fall. A confrontation ignites between the deceptive White Lotus and the protective brother. He sees through her act and vows to make the evil woman pay for harming his sister. Speed Goat makes a final, desperate appeal to the young patriarch, trying to paint herself as a gentle victim. He sees through her deception and cuts off her lies. The young patriarch announces his verdict with cold authority. Speed Goat faces a harsh sentence of hard labor and the revocation of her provisions, a punishment she clearly finds unbearable. He offers her a chilling alternative: appeal to his father for an even harsher sentence. The terrifying threat is enough to quell any further protest from her. Defeated and humiliated, Speed Goat unleashes her rage on Dear Spirit. Her screaming question, asking if she is now satisfied, hangs in the air filled with impotent fury. With quiet dignity, Dear Spirit confirms her satisfaction. The matter is settled, and she turns to leave with Snake Shadow. She reconsiders her opinion of the young patriarch, surprised to find him less arrogant and more just than she had believed. Speed Goat watches them go, consumed by a burning sense of humiliation. She fumes, having never suffered such a public and crushing defeat in her life. The young patriarch knows this conflict is far from over. His worry, however, shifts from Speed Goat to the new, more mysterious figure who has just arrived. His focus lands on the cheerful Leopard Bound. He senses a latent power in the young man, a strength that could potentially rival even Snake Shadow's. There is something hidden beneath the boy's joyful exterior. The patriarch suspects he is deliberately concealing his full and formidable power. His thoughts darken, recalling the devastating attack by wandering orcs. He can't help but wonder if this powerful stranger is connected to the rampaging hordes. The suspicion hardens into a critical question that weighs on his mind. What is this person's true purpose for entering their tribe? As night falls, Dear Spirit tries to make her brother leave her cave. He refuses, clinging to her, unwilling to go outside alone. He insists he is capable of surviving on his own. He is accustomed to the wild and can fend for himself even if he falls ill. His bravado quickly melts away. With tears in his eyes, he confesses his fear of being alone and his deep need to stay with his sister. Her resolve breaks at his vulnerability. She comforts him with a gentle pat on the head, and he leans into her affection, reassured. Snake Shadow abruptly intervenes, yanking the boy away. He scoffs at the display of weakness, stating that a true wandering orc would have perished long ago if he were so fragile. Tossing the boy aside, Snake Shadow closes in on Dear Spirit, his warning clear and possessive. She is not to allow men with hidden agendas near her again. His gaze intensifies, a possessive promise of anger if she fails to heed his warning about other males. An awkward cough shatters the tense, intimate moment. The young patriarch has arrived, interrupting them. He instantly regrets his timing, flustered by the private scene he has stumbled upon. This was not the best moment for a visit. The young patriarch awkwardly explains he came to speak with Dear Spirit. Snake Shadow remains silent but vigilant, his protective stance unwavering. Overwhelmed by Snake Shadow's oppressive aura, the patriarch reconsiders. He decides he must investigate the leopard boy indirectly before confronting the situation head-on. Dear Spirit calms Snake Shadow with a touch, letting him know she will handle it. She understands she is at the center of the conflict between him and her brother. Walking away with the patriarch, she expresses her concern that a fight will erupt between the two males. He tries to reassure her. Despite his words, the patriarch remains uneasy. The raw tension he witnessed is not something that will simply dissipate on its own. Elsewhere, the confrontation escalates. Snake Shadow has leopard bound pinned, menacingly declaring he knows all the boy's secrets. He issues a stern warning to the boy. He is never to mark his female or use pity to win her favor again. His expression twists into a mask of pure killing intent. His eyes hold a silent, deadly promise. Leopard-bound surprisingly turns the tables, his hand suddenly at Snake Shadow's throat. He taunts his rival, claiming he could easily take his life and his sister. The taunt is sharp and personal. He tells Snake Shadow to prepare to call him brother, a future he seems certain of achieving. The sheer audacity of the threat ignites a cold fire in Snake Shadow's eyes. He realizes this boy is courting death. As they grapple for dominance, Leopard-bound calmly dismisses Snake Shadow's claim. He asserts that his rival simply lacks the power to keep his sister all to himself. He drives the point home with a smirk and sharpened claws. The challenge is clear. You are not strong enough to eliminate me. Pushed too far, Snake Shadow's fury erupts. He realizes he has underestimated his opponent and resolves to end this now. The young patriarch is suddenly on alert, raising a stone for protection and urging Dear Spirit to be careful. Confused, she questions their destination. He somberly reveals he is taking her to see the ruins of their former home. She sees the desolate ruins for the first time, a stark picture of destruction. He explains she slept through the immediate aftermath, protected by Snake Shadow and unaware of the tragedy. He recounts the terrible memory of the attack by wandering orcs. The assault destroyed their home and claimed the life of their priest. He feels the immense weight of their loss, knowing that a priest is the heart and hope of any tribe. Their future is now uncertain. He reveals the full treachery of their enemy. A rival tribe conspired with the orcs, targeting their priest specifically to cripple them. The memory of their desperate flight is vivid. They were hiding and running for a long time, with Snake Shadow carrying her unconscious form the entire way. They had hoped for safety in this new place, but Snake Shadow sensed the enemy had not given up. He orchestrated a diversion to protect the few remaining tribe members. His foresight proved critical, as he discovered their enemy's insidious plot to poison their water. The rage from that memory still burns within him. Lacking a priest's purifying power, they were forced into desperate measures. Their once large tribe was reduced to a mere handful of survivors. She is stunned by this revelation. The world she thought she knew from the novel is different. This tragedy was never part of the original story. Confused by the timing of his story, she asks his motive. His reason is simple and dire. The boy she saved is a wandering orc. He closes the distance, his voice low and threatening. He demands to know the boy's intentions and swears to kill him if he poses a threat to the clan. Pinning her against a tree, his interrogation becomes an ultimatum. He demands the truth, warning that her association with the boy could brand her a traitor. Their tense confrontation is abruptly interrupted by a charging bear. In a bizarre turn, she throws him over her shoulder and flees. The enraged bear continues its pursuit through the forest, bellowing about the destruction of its home by evil orcs. The chaotic flight leaves her feeling dizzy and ill. It becomes painfully clear that wild animals have reclaimed their desolate home. He checks on her condition, but her upside-down perspective leaves her little room for pleasantries. He stammers an awkward apology, citing his inexperience in carrying women. Her exasperation grows at his clumsy attempt at an excuse. Meanwhile, the bear relentlessly searches the woods, still roaring and hunting for the intruders who destroyed its den. He pulls her into a tight embrace, silencing her to avoid detection. They must remain hidden until the danger passes. The closeness is unexpectedly comfortable, sparking a new and unfamiliar curiosity within him about intimacy. She breaks the spell, pushing him back to reality. Her mind is still on her brother and the accusations against him. He quickly pulls her back into the shadows, hissing a warning. They are still in danger of being discovered by the beast. The strange, warm feeling washes over him again as she speaks. She recounts her rescue, insisting on Leopard Bound's apparent innocence. Her gaze is sincere as she defends the boy. She truly believes in her heart that he is not a bad person. When she turns to him for a response, he is lost in a flustered, blushing haze. Words fail him entirely. He internally panics, reaffirming his loyalty to a future mate he hasn't even met. He is young bear, an innocent who has saved himself. The intimacy of their hiding spot is too much for him. He tries to convince himself her whispered defense of the boy means nothing. Elsewhere, the struggle for dominance reaches a new peak. Leopard Bound holds his rival's life in his hands, demanding his surrender. But Snake's shadow is unyielding. He refuses to allow a mysterious outsider to approach the woman he protects. In a burst of strength, he reverses their positions, slamming the boy to the ground. He snarls that Leopard Bound will never be worthy of her. Pinned and powerless, Leopard Bound seems to finally break. He begins to reveal his origins, his voice filled with despair. A sharp voice cuts through the tension. Dear Spirit has found them, witnessing their violent struggle. She runs toward them, her voice filled with panic. She begs Snake's shadow to stop and let her brother go. Her concern for the other man stings him deeply. He pulls her close, his jealousy and hurt evident in his grip. She quickly explains her worry is for both of them. The thought of either of her companions being injured is unbearable to her. Her reassurance works instantly. He is content in the knowledge that he holds the primary place in her heart. Leopard Bound intervenes gently, tugging on her clothing to get her attention and de-escalate the situation. He takes full responsibility for the fight, admitting to his sister that his own provocation started the conflict. This honest admission catches Snake's shadow completely off guard. He had expected manipulation, not a straightforward confession. She asks for his motive, and his answer is simple and sad. He acted out because he feared Snake's shadow would separate him from her. He pours his heart out, explaining that she is the first person to ever show him kindness or give him a home. His deepest desire is to remain with her always. Snake's shadow remains unimpressed by the display of emotion. He privately resolves that this newcomer will not survive their next encounter. The young patriarch reasserts his authority. He reminds them that the tribe's laws forbid accepting wandering orcs of unknown origin. He presses the boy for answers, connecting him to a recent enemy presence. He demands to know his purpose for being there. The direct questions make Leopard Bound falter. His hesitation and anxious expression reveal a hidden, painful conflict. Snake's shadow seizes the opportunity to accuse him of deception. The boy's denial is weak and unconvincing. An unseen observer, the menacing orc wind crocodile, watches the scene unfold. He is confident that the traitor, Leopard Bound, has no escape. He muses on the nature of wandering orcs. They are all exiled sinners. With that thought, he launches himself from the trees. Recognition dawns on both Leopard Bound and the young patriarch. The patriarch's face hardens. This is one of the murderers of his tribe. A tense moment of shared shock passes between the rivals. Snake's shadow issues a quiet, urgent command not to move. The situation turns dire as Wind Crocodile seizes Dear Spirit, holding a knife to her throat. Her life is now the price of any resistance. Leopard Bound roars in helpless fury, demanding that Wind Crocodile release his sister immediately. The patriarch's suspicions are confirmed, and he accuses Leopard Bound of collusion. The boy can only deny it, his words sounding hollow in the face of the evidence. The captor mocks the boy's attempts to clear his name. He cruelly points out Leopard Bound's obvious affection for the hostage. Snake Shadow's rage is directed at Leopard Bound. He believes this entire crisis is the boy's fault for bringing trouble to them. Wind Crocodile offers a twisted bargain. Leopard Bound's return in exchange for the girl's life and freedom. The boy's only concern is for her safety. Defeated, he makes the ultimate sacrifice. He agrees to surrender himself to his old tormentors to save her. He closes his eyes, bracing for a return to a life of suffering. He knows this fate will be even more brutal than what he escaped. He puts on a brave face for his sister. He tells her not to worry, that her safety is all that matters to him. Her mind races, analyzing the situation. She knows his sacrifice would be meaningless if his captors are as ruthless as she's been told. They would likely kill them both. A new plan is needed, a way to turn the tables. Just then, an unexpected element of chaos re-enters the scene, the angry bear. Suddenly, an idea sparks in her mind. She sees a path out of this deadly standoff. The bear crashes through the undergrowth, still roaring in fury and searching for the ones who destroyed its home. She calls out, deliberately drawing the massive beast's attention directly to their location. Her captor is bewildered by her actions, demanding to know why she is shouting. She calmly explains what she is doing, creating a diversion. The two rivals, Snake Shadow and Leopard Bound, instantly grasp her plan and prepare to act. Snake Shadow lunges, but his attack is thwarted as Wind Crocodile cowardly shields himself with her body. The captor's momentary triumph is cut short. The bear looms over them, trapping him completely with no chance of escape. In a final act of cowardice, he shoves her directly into the path of the enraged beast to create a distraction for his own escape. Both Snake Shadow and Leopard Bound cry out in terror, powerless to stop her from falling into the bear's clutches. The bear pauses, utterly baffled. This small, strange prey is now clinging to its leg, acting very stupidly. She holds on for dear life, her voice trembling as she pleads with the massive beast not to eat her. The young patriarch charges forward without a second thought, determined to protect her from the animal. He positions himself protectively in front of her. His concern is focused entirely on her well-being now that the bear has calmed. He reaches out, intending to examine the fresh cut on her neck, but she seems distracted by his closeness. The proximity flusters her, her heart pounding in her chest. A curious thought about male reactions to female scents crosses her mind. A sudden realization hits her. If the young patriarch is strong enough to defeat bears, why did they flee from this one earlier? He freezes, caught in his lie. He is unable to form a coherent response to her sharp question. He shamefully admits he was trying to avoid a battle in front of her, quickly denying any intention to show off his strength. She stares him down, and he doubles down on his flimsy excuse, his face burning with embarrassment under her gaze. Her mind suddenly shifts back to the immediate danger. She remembers the scarred, wandering orc who started all of this. She turns to see her brother has subdued their enemy. Leopard Bound threatens to end him for the harm he caused her. Snake Shadow can't resist a jab about her brother being a stinky kitten, leading to yet another squabble between the two rivals. The argument dissolves into a childish tantrum from Leopard Bound. Snake Shadow is forced to physically restrain the crying boy. Annoyed, he throws the boy aside once more. He needs to deal with the actual prisoner. The young patriarch decides to leave the interrogation to the others and face the larger threat of more orcs, causing Dear Spirit to worry. He can't shake the bitter feeling of jealousy. He watches the man who is destined to be her mate and feels a sour mood descend upon him. Snake Shadow immediately turns his attention back to her. His gentle concern is a stark contrast to his earlier aggression. He kisses her passionately, overcome with the fear of losing her. He wishes he had never let her out of his sight. He pulls away slightly, his possessive nature resurfacing. He insists on marking her with his scent, a claim of ownership. He asks her to check him for injuries, but when she finds none, he quickly reassures her. He tells her she isn't to blame for any of it. He then insists he is hurt, pulling her closer when she presses for details. His injury is not one she can see. He whispers that the source of his pain is emotional. The terror of nearly losing her has left him aching all over. The only cure for his pain, he murmurs into her ear, is more of her kisses. She understands his meaning now, blushing at his playful emotional manipulation. This is not physical trauma he's talking about. She attempts to escape his embrace, but he playfully insists he needs her to stay and tend to his wounds. Exasperated but flustered, she tells him they can deal with his supposed injuries later, in private. A moment of peace settles over the forest as the immediate danger subsides. Watching them from afar, the patriarch feels a sharp sting of pain. He is forced to confront the possibility that he has fallen in love with Dear Spirit. He quickly dismisses the thought as mere jealousy over Snake Shadow having a mate. He resolves to find a partner of his own once the crisis is over. The interrogation of Wind Crocodile begins. The young patriarch demands to know the captive's motives and his connection to Leopard Bound. The captive confirms his association with Leopard Bound, but he hesitates when asked about their overall purpose, a sly look in his eye. He calls out to Leopard Bound, asking for help to stand up from the ground. Snake Shadow forcefully puts him back in his place, stepping on him to keep him down. With cold authority, Snake Shadow looms over the prisoner and orders him to stay on the ground. The captive reveals a shocking lie. Leopard Bound was meant to help them abduct Dear Spirit. He then taunts the boy, saying he is unlovable and doomed. Leopard Bound snaps, grabbing the liar by his clothes. He furiously denies the accusation, screaming that his past association with them was forced. He turns to his sister, his eyes pleading. He is desperate for her to believe in his innocence over the words of his tormentor. The patriarch remains skeptical, demanding proof. The tribe's laws are absolute, and they offer no welcome for those who have harmed them. However, he offers a path to justice. If the boy's story is true, the entire tribe will stand with him and help him seek his vengeance. All eyes are on Leopard Bound. This is his chance to tell the truth and finally clear the suspicion that surrounds him. He finally begins his story, admitting he came from a wandering orc's nest. But he insists he never shared their cruel nature, despite growing up among them. He recalls his childhood and his mother, who filled his head with hopeful promises of a mate and a happy future from the beast gods. But his childhood was marked by pain. He had no father, and he watched helplessly as other males dragged his mother away for their pleasure. His mother's words were his only hope: be good, and they would escape this hell. He cried and begged for them to stop, but obedience never saved her. One day, his mother wouldn't wake up. He clung to a child's hope that she was merely sleeping, praying for her to return to him. The brutal truth was delivered without pity by another orc. His mother was dead. He was then seized to be taken to the leader. In a moment of desperate defiance, he fought back against his captor and ran for his life. He fled without looking back, carrying the memory of his mother's murderers. He hoped to leave that life behind forever. And on that very same day, his destiny changed. He stumbled upon a powerful magic beast stone in a hidden cave. The stone granted him immense power, transforming him into a fourth-tier warrior. But the power couldn't fill the void left by the father who never claimed him. A pillar of divine light marked his transformation. In that moment of rebirth, he decided to forge his own identity. He took a new name, one forged in pain and powered by a singular burning goal: revenge. He recalls meeting another group of wandering orcs, all leopards like him. Their charismatic leader found his chosen name peculiar. The leader, a powerful blonde leopard beastman, was unconcerned with the name. He saw something else in the boy. He declared the boy a captive, the first traitor to be subjugated by his new master. He then transformed and lunged. He was stunned to see that his new captor shared his leopard form. He had found not freedom, but a new prison. He endured days of darkness and torture in their confinement. He clung to his desire for revenge as his only reason to survive. His escape led him directly to her. He concludes his story with a simple, honest plea. All he wants now is to live peacefully with his sister. After a lifetime of cruelty and abuse, she is the only person who has ever shown him kindness. She gave him not just shelter, but a sense of belonging, a home he never had. He recalls a fragment of his mother's love, a sweet belief that compliments could light up a leopard's heart. He looks at her, his entire future hanging on her answer to his simple question: can he stay by her side? He amends his request, asking only to be her family. He is convinced his dark past makes him unworthy of being her partner. Even this humble request is denied by his tormentor. Wind Crocodile screams that his lineage binds him to them forever. The final, cruel taunt rings out: his only family is his captor. The words crush his fragile hope, and he is struck with despair. He looks at her, his entire future hanging on her answer to his simple question: can he stay by her side? He amends his request, asking only to be her family. He is convinced his dark past makes him unworthy of being her partner. Even this humble request is denied by his tormentor. Wind Crocodile screams that his lineage binds him to them forever. The young leopard feels utterly alone, stung by the harsh words that he deserves no one but the leader. Snake Shadow offers him shelter in a nearby cave, sternly ordering him to stop looking so pitiful. There is no room for weakness here. The young leopard bristles with indignation, insisting he is a fierce leopard, not some crying cat. His bravado immediately crumbles when the offer of a cave is retracted. He begs, admitting his loud outburst was a mistake. Dear Spirit observes the scene, noticing how Snake Shadow's motivation has dwindled since being bound to leopard bound. He seems to have found a new purpose. The young patriarch informs Dear Spirit he's taking the captured orc away, promising to credit her for her part in the future. He offers his protection, vowing to help her with anything she needs. Dear Spirit politely thanks the young patriarch, but assures him she won't be a bother, gently turning down his offer of help. His heart breaks at her rejection. He wonders why she didn't take the chance to ask for his help like she usually does, questioning if he wasn't proactive enough. He fantasizes about her asking him to surrender to her, a blush rising on her cheeks. He then imagines what he could do to make her place more demanding requests on him, lost in thought. Snake Shadow points the way to a suitable place for the young leopard. He notices the young leopard's sour expression and questions if he dislikes the arrangement. The young leopard anxiously asks how far the cave is from his sisters. They are led through a bamboo forest to Dear Spirit's cave, which is not far at all. Leopard Bound's mood brightens instantly, declaring his satisfaction with the new home and thanking his brother. He then turns to Snake Shadow, warning him not to bother him or Dear Spirit, or he'll be thrown out. The young leopard confidently promises to take good care of his sister while he is away. Snake Shadow senses the young man's unkind intentions. He resolves to deliver a bad end to him if his boundaries are crossed again. He turns to Dear Spirit, his demeanor softening as he invites her to leave with him. She reaches for his hand, gently asking if he is angry. He denies being angry, pausing as he looks at her. He admits he only regrets going soft on the kid, recalling from their talk that his own childhood was also filled with bullying. She realizes that Leopard Bound's difficult life must have resonated with Snake Shadow's own painful past. She decides to cheer him up by making something. Music, she thinks, can heal better than words, so she resolves to play a song for him. As she struggles with a bamboo stalk, Snake Shadow offers his help, but the bamboo itself seems to protest. He easily snaps off a piece for her and asks what else she needs. She points out where she wants to make holes for the instrument. He diligently carries out his wife's orders, carving into the bamboo with precision. She watches him, thinking to herself that this side of Snake Shadow reveals he is a good man. To thank him for making the flute, she offers him a gift in return. He is curious what it could be. As she plays a beautiful melody, he is captivated. This ethereal version of Dear Spirit seems more distant and harder to reach than usual. Overwhelmed by the moment, he pulls her close and tells her he wants to have a cub with her. She is shocked by his sudden, scandalous proposal. He swiftly lifts her into his arms, insisting they return for a companion ceremony. She panics, thinking a marriage ceremony is too soon since she just finished school. His face falls as he asks if she doesn't want to be his partner. She stammers, trying to find the right words. He voices his insecurities, reminding her of her past infatuation with others and asking if she still doesn't like him. She denies it, insisting she never belonged to anyone else. He challenges her to prove it. Confused and flustered, she asks what he wants her to prove. He simply tells her to nod. She agrees with a nod, but before she can add anything else, he leans in. He closes the distance, whispering that they can do what comes after the ceremony right now. He inwardly smirks, recognizing the kitten's ploy of playing pitiful. But he is determined that Dear Spirit will be his alone. She shivers in his grasp, nervously asking what he means. He reveals that his true form is a snake. He adds that in his true form, he can be very charming. She panics, realizing his intentions. She protests that they are out in the wild where anyone could see. Thinking fast, she feigns a sudden stomach ache, declaring she doesn't want to be here anymore. He looks concerned. His worry is immediate. He asks why she didn't say so sooner and insists on taking her home right away. As he carries her off, she cries out for her forgotten flute, but he scolds her for caring more about it than her health. Meanwhile, the young bear, having dealt with the wandering orcs, hears a beautiful sound only a priest can make. He realizes someone in the tribe must have awakened as a priest and rushes toward the sound. He finds a white-haired woman holding a flute and asks if the music was hers. She confirms it was her, and slyly asks if her awakening as a priest will be enough to cancel her punishment. Back in the cave, Dear Spirit is bundled up with a hot water bag pressed against her stomach. Snake Shadow anxiously asks if she's still in pain, but she assures him she's fine. She thinks to herself that the hot water bag is uncomfortably hot. He misinterprets her expression as pain, his mind racing with concern and failing to see any flaw in her acting. He declares he will go to the patriarch for medicinal herbs, but she quickly tries to stop him. She watches him leave, amazed at how fast he ran. Leopard Bound appears, asking why her face is so red. She quickly enlists his help to chase Snake Shadow down. He is confused, admitting he has no idea where the patriarch's house is. He scoops her into his arms, explaining that if he holds her, she can lead the way. He claims he's only doing it to help. He cheekily tells her she will have to repay him in the future, and then breaks into a run, telling her to hold on tight. Snake Shadow runs toward the patriarchs, thinking about how Speed Goat is their future priest. He wonders if he should still doubt her because of Dear Spirit's claims. The tribespeople gossip, certain that Speed Goat is the noblest among them, and that currying her favor is key to their future. Goat's claim is truce, and the invites Patriarch Snake Shadow to be her first reluctantly mate, confirms it. Promising him a high status, as she will have many partners in the future. Another woman urges Snake Shadow to accept, reminding him of Speed Goat's high status compared to Dear Spirit's. Leopard Bound points out that Snake Shadow isn't refusing the wicked woman, making Dear Spirit wonder if he doesn't want her anymore. Snake Shadow suddenly appears behind them, asking why they came and if her stomach still hurts. She confronts him directly, asking if he would have agreed to Speed Goat's offer if she hadn't arrived. He hesitates, swallowing the word no before he can say it. She reminds him that he's a married man now, and she doesn't want to see him being spineless. He is surprised by her jealous anxiety. It's a new side of her, but he finds he loves this possessive side of her very much. She is confused by his smile, asking what he finds so funny. He playfully questions her about the meaning of manliness, while she struggles to explain it. He assures her that he has no virtue and doesn't want to protect anyone but her. She is flustered by his intense declaration. This snake really is something else. Speed Goat interrupts, reminding Snake Shadow that as a future priest, countless males will desire her, and this is his only chance. Snake Shadow turns to Dear Spirit with a smirk, asking if she needs help dealing with someone trying to steal her man. She realizes he's teasing her on purpose. She resolves to handle this herself, determined not to let anyone steal her man. She also starts to question where Speed Goat came from, as she wasn't the priest in the original story. Dear Spirit faces the pretender, demanding proof of her claim to be a future priest. Tigress Na steps in to defend her, declaring that Speed Goat has a bamboo stick that can make sounds. When asked to show the stick, Speed Goat hesitates, claiming Dear Spirit isn't qualified to see it. Dear Spirit grows suspicious, wondering what Speed Goat is trying to hide. She suddenly recognizes the flute. It's the one she dropped in the bamboo forest. The truth dawns on her. This is why Speed Goat didn't dare to play the flute in front of her. Dear Spirit addresses the tribe, reminding them that their fighting spirit has waned since they lost their last priest. She proposes that the new priest should demonstrate her abilities to inspire everyone. The crowd murmurs in agreement, eager to witness the miraculous voice they've heard so much about. She turns to Speed Goat with a challenge, questioning if she even knows any priestly skills at all. Speed Goat bristles, insisting she was born with the priest's ability to heal. She puts the flute to her lips and blows, but the sound is a horrifying screech that makes the onlookers cover their ears. The crowd is confused, noting that the sound is terrible. Some try to make excuses for the uneducated priest. Speed Goat, however, confidently asks if they believe her now. Dear Spirit calmly takes the flute, remarking that it can't be played this way. With a swift movement, she snaps the bamboo stick in half, leaving Speed Goat and her supporter speechless. Speed Goat is furious, yelling that she is a priest and doesn't need to be taught. Dear Spirit points out that now she can't play at all. Dear Spirit calmly suggests that Snake Shadow can simply make a new one. The tribe is stunned by the revelation that Snake Shadow made the flute. They wonder if he is the true future priest. He hands the new flute to Dear Spirit, and she begins to play. A beautiful, healing melody fills the air. The young patriarch recognizes it as the same voice he heard earlier, realizing Dear Spirit was the one in the forest. Leopard Bound declares triumphantly that Speed Goat was a thief who pretended to be his sister. Speed Goat desperately denies it, claiming she just picked something up from the ground. She begins to cry, feigning ignorance and apologizing if everyone thinks it's her fault. Leopard Bound isn't buying her innocent act, accusing her of trying to steal his sister's man. He exposes her jealousy and evil intentions to the tribe. The tribe turns against Speed Goat, demanding she be punished for her deception and slander. Snake Shadow looks at Speed Goat with cold finality. He tells her he will only say it one last time. The only person he likes is Dear Spirit. He issues a dark threat, warning her of the price she'll pay if she ever dares to hurt Dear Spirit again. Speed Goat is terrified. She knows that in the orc world, only murderers are banished. Enraged and humiliated, she accuses them of setting her up and flees, screaming that she will remember this. Leopard Bound plots to catch Speed Goat and torture her into confessing, which makes Dear Spirit chuckle. She finds Leopard Bound's protective anger cute, amused that Speed Goat's defense was broken by two boys. Snake Shadow pulls Dear Spirit close, telling Leopard Bound that his concern isn't needed. The two males glare at each other, one seeing a rival kitten seeking attention, the other seeing an obstacle. The young patriarch approaches, stating he has something important to tell the true future priest of the tribe. He asks her to come with him for a private conversation. The other tribe members look on, realizing that Dear Spirit is indeed the real priest. The Lion Lord watches, thinking that since she now has status, he might reluctantly let her be his partner. He assumes she must be overjoyed. The young patriarch explains that a tribe's future depends entirely on having a priest. He admits he thought their tribe was hopeless after the old priest's death, since the divine beast would surely blame them. But then she appeared. He declares that Dear Spirit is their hope. She feels a pang of guilt, realizing she became the tribe's hope by playing a flute, essentially stealing the original heroine's golden finger. She feels compelled to confess. He misunderstands her hesitation, assuming she wants to keep a low profile until she's officially a priest. He promises to keep her secret. She tries to explain that's not what she meant, but he continues to interpret her humility as a sign of her worthiness. He lays out the plan. She must join the expedition to the Rock Salt tribe for an awakening ceremony, after which he'll take her to the divine beast shrine. The mention of the Rock Salt tribe jolts her memory. She recalls from the novel that this is where she first met Snake Shadow, raising the question of the original heroine's appearance. The Lion Lord smugly tells her he's considering giving her a chance, but only if she can take down the snake guy. He recalls how the original Dear Spirit had endured humiliation from Tigress Na and risked her life against a beast just to please him. He misinterprets her past actions as deep love, believing she must be thrilled for another chance to prove herself. He invites her to his cave, eager to see the means by which Snake Shadow was so enchanted. A shadow falls over her face as she rejects his arrogant assumption that all women would flock to him. She declares that she won't leave the person she likes to pursue scum like him, questioning his misplaced confidence. He is enraged by her rejection, warning her not to regret spurning this opportunity. She retorts with cold disdain, asking who will truly be the one to regret. For someone like him, regret is worthless. She calls him out for finding dominance by bullying weaker women, labeling him as incompetent and scum. Her words strike a nerve, and he can only stammer that he is lame. Her critique continues in her mind, seeing his life surrounded by fawning women as empty and unfulfilling. While other men work for the tribe, he has done nothing. He is a waste. He's not even the male lead, so he can't just hang around with women all day. Her thoughts hammer him with criticism. He is confused by her strange vocabulary, but she dismisses his question. She realizes with a grimace that she got carried away and said all her thoughts out loud. She walks away, telling him that she is no longer the person she used to be. She vows to herself that the past is over, and she will never let such things happen again. For the first time, he begins to question if his past actions were wrong. He quickly dismisses the thought, convincing himself that she is just unhappy because other women stole his favor. He decides that if she doesn't like his current behavior, he will just spoil her alone from now on. He reaffirms his conviction that the priest's companion can only be him. A new figure appears, a man with long white hair named Dear Leap, Lu Yu. He coldly warns the Lion Lord to stay away from Lu Ling. The Lion Lord is shocked to see him, wondering how he survived without a warrior's talent after leaving to find his parents' remains. Dear Leap ignores his question, grabbing his arm with surprising strength. He effortlessly flings the lion lord aside. He states coolly that it is not his place to bully that idiot. This is Dear Leap, a merciless man with combat skills trained in secret to protect his sister, even though he lacks warrior talent. He announces he has cut ties with Dear Spirit. In his thoughts, however, he worries about her. When she's in danger, he gets annoyed, thinking she's too stupid to run from trouble. The voiceover author asks why he doesn't just admit his concern. Leopard Bound appears, pushing a large sack of supplies towards Snake Shadow, insisting his sister will need them. He declares that Snake Shadow is too weak to be trusted with his sister, provoking an annoyed reaction. Leopard Bound playfully taunts Snake Shadow, calling him the weakest and enjoying his frustration. Snake Shadow snaps, calling him a stinky kitten and lunging for him. Dear Spirit is caught in the middle, trying to stop their squabble. Snake Shadow pulls her into an embrace, innocently claiming he was just helping her pack. Leopard Bound uses a makeshift megaphone to announce that Snake Shadow is trying to sneak her into the Rock Salt tribe, a place with strict quotas. She is confused, as the young patriarch had just given her permission to go with the team tomorrow. Snake Shadow is pleased, as this means he can keep her by his side. He cannot stand the thought of her being bullied while he's not there to help. She looks at him, feeling reassured. Even if she meets the original heroine, this soulful Snake Shadow probably wouldn't abandon her. Leopard Bound asks to be brought along too, but Snake Shadow flatly denies his request. The two rivals push and shove for her attention, with Leopard Bound enthusiastically sticking close to her. From a distance, Dear Leap watches, thinking that his sister still seems to be the same as before. Tigress now sidles up to him, remarking that Dear Spirit still seduces male orcs. He turns to her with a cold glare. She presses on, asking if he doesn't think the same thing. He grabs her wrist, his grip like iron. He warns her that her hand is too beautiful to be broken. He commands her never to speak ill of Dear Spirit in his presence again. She recoils, calling him a psychopath as he stands with menacing anger. The commotion draws the attention of Dear Spirit's group. Dear Leap approaches and asks who the orc beside her is. The two brothers, one by blood and one by choice, face off over a confused Dear Spirit. She hesitantly introduces Dear Leap as her brother, realizing another character from the original book has appeared. He angrily denies being her brother, stating he has already cut ties with her and warning her not to bother him. His words strike her with a profound sadness, and she feels an uncontrollable urge to cry. A voice inside her insists that this isn't how things are supposed to be. A memory surfaces of a young Dear Leap vowing to become strong and protect his little sister. They should be the closest relatives in the world. He tells her she was his favorite sister when they were young, but she suddenly changed. He accuses her of becoming outrageous and unfamiliar, sometimes feeling like she's a completely different person. A past memory of a slap echoes. The original Dear's personality momentarily surfaces, telling him to get lost and mind his own business. Leopard Bound leaps to her defense, furiously telling Dear Leap that he's talking nonsense. He confronts the white-haired man, telling him he knows nothing and shouldn't speak to his sister that way. Dear Leap's attention is caught by how Leopard Bound addressed her. He grabs his hand. His eyes narrow with jealousy as he asks when she got another younger brother. A small, cute creature named Zayadu suddenly appears, announcing his return. Dear Spirit is surprised to see her system, who immediately assesses the tense situation as a Shira field. Leopard Bound continues to challenge Dear Leap, asking why he is so cruel after claiming to want to sever ties. He furiously declares that he won't let Dear Leap get away with it. The two face off, but Dear Spirit intervenes, telling her brother to let him go. She reflects on the constant misunderstandings she's faced since transmigrating. She decides it's better to make a clean break. She holds up her hand, stopping the conflict. She agrees to cut the relationship. A magical amulet stone shatters as she formally renounces their bond. From now on, they will walk separate paths. An older man recalls giving them each an amulet stone from the divine beast when they were children. He had told them they would be the closest relatives and should always support each other. With her eyes shadowed, she walks away with Snake Shadow, leaving her heartbroken brother behind. He reaches out to the woman walking away, his voice calling out to his Dear Spirit, his sister. Snake Shadow catches her, his voice sharp with concern. She apologizes, admitting she tried to control it but failed. Despite his embrace, sadness clouds her. Even though Dear Leap is not her true brother, the thought of losing him feels like a piece of her has been torn away. Tears stream down her face as the sense of loss overwhelms her. He gently wipes them away, reminding her that she still has him. He draws her closer, his gaze intense with a silent promise. He vows he will never leave her side, no matter what comes their way. Suddenly flustered, Dear Spirit pushes him away. He looks at her, confused by her sudden retreat, but she quickly dismisses his concern. She realizes with a jolt that her system, Zayadu, is present. An intimate moment is unthinkable in front of her underage companion. The small creature demands to know why she stopped. To deflect, she quickly changes the subject, feigning surprise at its sudden appearance. Zayadu explains its absence was due to a necessary system update. She has simply relieved its back, fearing she was losing everyone she held dear. A wave of guilt washes over the small system. It holds a secret about her past it cannot yet reveal and vows to somehow make it up to her. Eager to help, Zayadu announces it has located valuable treasures for her. A rare grass and a powerful beast stone. Snake Shadow carries her toward the dark entrance of a cave, confirming if this is the place she was searching for. With a confident smile, she looks up at him and confirms they have arrived at their destination. Before them, a magical, glowing flower illuminates the grotto. This must be the incredible medicine her system had told her about. Beneath the flower, a crystal pulses with an even greater energy. It is the legendary Beast God Stone. She runs toward the flower, her heart racing. This is the mythical panacea, a magic medicine that takes centuries to bloom and can heal any wound. Holding the celestial treasure, she feels a profound sense of wonder. Without her system's guidance, only someone with incredible luck could have found this. As she celebrates, a giant serpent lunges from the darkness, catching Snake Shadow completely by surprise. He cries out as the serpent's fangs sink into his arm. The system frantically yells for Dear Spirit to catch the flower he tosses to her. Seeing him wounded, a cold fury washes over her. She grabs a sharpened branch and charges, intent on killing the beast that harmed him. With the immediate danger gone, she fusses over his wound. She insists they must leave this perilous place at once. She ignores his protests and forces the magic flower into his mouth. There is no time for debate. He must be healed. She waits, her anxiety mounting. She prays the medicine works, but worries about what might happen if there is no antidote. He gently stops her, arguing such a precious remedy is wasted on him. He believes she, as a priest, should keep it for herself. Her eyes fill with determined tears. His life is more valuable than any treasure, and she would give anything to save him. He pulls her into a deep kiss, overcome by the realization that in her heart, he is more important than any magic. He pulls back, his expression suddenly grave. He tells her he is beginning to revert to his ancestors, leaving her completely baffled. The strange word throwback echoes in her mind, an alien and deeply unsettling concept. He explains that this ancestral reversion awakens the primal, beastly nature within an orc. The full weight of his warning begins to sink in. He flushes, admitting with some difficulty that his particular beastly nature is complicated. A comical image of her predicament flashes in her mind. She shouts that she knows how to suppress his condition, desperate to stop his advance. She remembers that the Beast God Stone can control this transformation. The thought of being with him is not unwelcome, but not like this. She looks at him, her mind racing with concern. His current condition is dangerously unstable. The full, terrifying implication of his state crashes down on her. She is certain she is going to die. He looms over her, his serpentine body coiled and powerful. This time, he has no intention of suppressing his urges. Her protests are a faint whisper as she pleads with him to stop, her own will fading against his overwhelming presence. He holds her from behind, his voice low. He will not be rejected by her again. He feels her tears and his intensity softens. He gently turns her to face him, asking why she is crying. A flicker of doubt crosses his face. He begins to fear that he himself is the source of her sorrow. She quickly invents an excuse, blaming her tears on a painful monthly visitor. He is left completely bewildered by her explanation. She cringes at her own words, but fear made her say it. His confusion only deepens as he questions the meaning of this mysterious auntie. His keen senses pick up a scent in the air. It is the unmistakable smell of blood. Panic grips him as he assumes she's injured and tries to inspect her for a wound. She resists, mortified. She tries to explain the biological reality of her situation. He listens, but points out this has never happened before. His expression darkens with hurt and suspicion. He believes she is hiding a real injury from him. She struggles to find the right words, realizing the difficulty of explaining modern biology in a primitive world. She simplifies it, explaining it's a natural process before having cubs. He seems to finally understand, if a bit dimly. The mention of cubs makes his eyes sparkle. To her surprise, he abruptly turns and starts to leave. He explains that since she is hurt, he cannot risk harming her further. He will leave to calm his urges for the sake of their future cubs. She watches him go, a new worry dawning. She wonders what kind of torment he will have to endure while he waits. An idea strikes her, and she calls out. She knows a way he can end his suffering early. He turns back, intrigued. She gestures towards a simple pile of rocks nearby. With an encouraging smile, she tells him to dig under the stones. He is skeptical, seeing nothing but rocks. But unwilling to disappoint her, he resolves to make the effort. As he moves the stones, a powerful light reveals the glowing beast god stone hidden beneath. He holds the artifact, stunned by its raw power. He can feel his own warrior spirit responding to its energy. He stares at the precious stone, a single, critical thought dominating his mind. There is only one. Without hesitation, he offers the stone to her, urging her to absorb its power. She is stunned by his selfless gesture. He insists, explaining it will give her the strength and status she needs as a priest, so no one will ever look down on her again. Her system chimes in, urging her to accept. This power will secure her position and give her an advantage against the original heroine. She is puzzled. She understands his motive, but her system's insistence feels suspicious. She directly confronts her system, demanding to know its true purpose in pushing her to usurp the original heroine's destiny. A memory of her tending to his wounds flashes in her mind. This stone belongs to him. Her resolve hardens. He has always protected her, and she cannot stand by and watch him suffer when she can help. The system presses her, but her mind is made up. Her trust lies with the man who has always been there for her, not her secretive guide. She looks at him with determination, declaring she can become a great priest on her own. He needs this stone more than she does. Moved by her conviction, he gently kisses her forehead, accepting her decision with deep affection. She anxiously asks if he is feeling better. He confirms the stone's power is working and his condition has improved. He effortlessly lifts her into his arms, announcing his promotion to a fifth-order warrior. Her eyes catch on a shimmering blue fabric draped over his arm. It's beautiful and completely unfamiliar. He explains it is water cloud yarn that he shed during his advancement. She is shocked by the concept. Her mind immediately leaps to a rather mortifying conclusion about the biological process of shedding skin. Her system confirms it is his slough, a valuable material with impressive defensive properties. He tenderly notes her blood-stained dress and promises to make her a new one. He admits he loves that she now carries his scent. The primal implication of being marked by his scent sends a wave of heat through her. Elsewhere, her brother Deer Leap and other tribesmen patrol the woods, discussing their plans. Deer Leap's sharp senses suddenly detect the strong scent of blood on the wind. His first thought is of his sister. He turns, a worried expression on his face as he calls out to her. Snake Shadow emerges from the trees carrying her. He pointedly ignores her brother, stating only that she is tired. A fellow warrior notices the change in Snake Shadow's aura and asks if he's advanced. He confirms he has reached the 5th level. The news sends a wave of joy through the warrior. A 5th-order warrior means security and strength for the entire tribe. He reflects on the strategic advantage this brings. Their tribe now has the power to challenge their rivals. Energized by the news, the warrior rallies the others. They must prepare for an early departure to the trading post. The good news spreads like wildfire through the tribe. They celebrate, filled with hope for their future. The young patriarch, however, feels only a bitter sting of jealousy. His rival has now left him far behind. He connects the dots. This rapid advancement must be her doing. The future priest must have a secret to empower others. A new ambition takes root in his heart. If he can win the affection of Deer Spirit, her power could become his. As he schemes, he senses a presence and whirls around, his power crackling, ready for a fight. It is Deer Leap who has appeared. He coldly demands to know what business the patriarch has at his sister's home. The patriarch sneers, mocking his lack of warrior status. He assumes Deer Leap also wants to use his sister to gain power. He taunts Deer Leap about their severed bond, punctuating his cruel words with a vicious kick. He looms over the fallen brother, gloating about her preference for Snake Shadow. He finds it pathetic that he still tries to protect her. The mockery continues. Dear Leap can only glare back, his eyes burning with helpless rage. Pushed too far, Dear Leap strikes back, furiously denying the patriarch's accusations. Suddenly, Dear Spirit is there, her expression unreadable. She has heard everything. He can only stare, her name a shocked whisper on his lips. Her voice is dangerously calm as she asks him to repeat his words. He panics, desperately trying to take back what he said, claiming he didn't mean to sever their bond. He immediately regrets his clumsy explanation, mortified by his own foolish words. Seeing him so flustered, she can't help but smile. This is a side of him she has never seen. She realizes this is his true, awkward self. Her thoughts drift back to a conversation with Snake Shadow. In her memory, Snake Shadow explains the Beast God Stone can awaken the latent warrior potential in orcs. He had proposed giving the stone to her brother as a peace offering to mend their broken relationship. He had comforted her, certain that leaving things unresolved would only cause her brother more pain. Back in the present, she offers the stone to Dear Leap, acknowledging his dream of becoming a warrior. The young patriarch's eyes widen with greedy recognition. He now understands the secret to Snake Shadow's power. Before anyone can react, he lunges forward and snatches the precious artifact from her grasp. He gloats, reminding her of a past promise to prioritize him as he begins to drag her away. His intentions are clear. Once he has used the stone to become powerful, he will return to claim her. Her brother intervenes, pushing the patriarch back. He sees the manipulation and refuses to let his sister be used. He stands protectively before her, urging her to keep the stone. He knows how vulnerable she is and believes she needs it for her own protection. He internally fumes, convinced the Lion Lord will discard his sister once he gets what he wants. He is determined to prevent it. He struggles to voice his concern, awkwardly telling her to just take care of herself, which she misinterprets as rejection. Seeing her sad expression, he is filled with immediate regret for once again saying the wrong thing. Remorse washes over him. He desperately wishes he could take back his clumsy, hurtful words. The Lion Lord scoffs, finding his concern pathetic. He is frustrated that this little deer has thwarted his plans again. Dear Leap looks down, a profound sense of failure settling over him. He feels he deserves her scorn. Putting his feelings aside, he resumes his duties, ordering the expedition to begin their journey. A younger cat-like beastman nudges him, asking about the trinket in his hand. Dear Leap curtly brushes off the question. The Catman slyly asks for advice on how a friend might reconcile with his sister after a fight. His advice is simple: apologize sincerely. He believes no sister could stay mad after a heartfelt apology. Dear Leap considers this, then becomes flustered, vehemently denying the advice is for him. The young man offers a knowing wink, leaving Dear Leap to stew in his own awkwardness. The group continues on their way, with Dear Leap lagging behind, lost in thought. A single, hopeful question hangs in his mind. Can she really forgive him? With farewells from the village, the large party sets off on their 10-day journey. She watches them go, puzzled by the sheer number of warriors needed for a simple trading mission. Her system explains that tribes without priests are dependent on others for essential rights, limiting their autonomy. Again, the system insists that becoming a priest is her best path. She questions why it wants her to steal the original heroine's fate. With tears in its eyes, the system prepares to finally reveal a hidden truth about her. Suddenly, a distressed woman with pink hair runs out of the woods, pleading for help. She clutches a wounded arm, claiming she's being pursued by hostile orcs. The woman's dramatic entrance feels scripted. Dear Spirit realizes this must be the story's original protagonist. Instinctively, Dear Spirit pulls Snake Shadow back, sensing a trap. The new woman conveniently trips and falls right into Snake Shadow's embrace. The cliché is not lost on Dear Spirit. This, she thinks with a sigh, is the kind of blatant plot armor only a main character receives. The heroine gazes up at him, and he instinctively offers his protection, promising no one will hurt her. But the expected script shatters. His expression turns menacing as he demands to know why this stranger dared to touch his female. He shoves the interloper away, his focus entirely on Dear Spirit, his mind only on her. She watches in shock. He has completely deviated from his expected role. The woman, Tigress Jade, introduces herself and explains she is fleeing from marauding orcs. The words "wandering orcs" immediately put the warriors on high alert. The pursuer appears, a brutish warrior who smugly tells her the chase is over. The young Catman's face twists in rage. He recognizes the leader of the Wanderers as his mother's killer. The enemy leader sneers, clearly remembering the young warrior and their last encounter. His lecherous gaze shifts past them and lands on Dear Spirit. He's not just taken by her beauty. He senses the power of the stone she carries. Snake Shadow immediately shields her, his voice a low growl, warning the wanderer not to even look at her. The leader laughs, supremely confident. He gives a brutal order to his followers to capture her. An icy rage settles over Snake Shadow. He lifts his weapon, ready to eliminate anyone who dares to touch her. The wanderer scoffs at his power, revealing himself to be at the peak of the Fifth Order, a much higher level. Hearing the disparity in their power, she feels a surge of fear for him. Snake Shadow lunges, but the powerful leader easily sidesteps his opening blow. Another warrior is distracted, complaining about his comrade's behavior in the middle of a fight. A different wandering orc taunts his comrade, pointing out his weakness and lack of focus. While Snake Shadow is locked in combat, another enemy sees an opening and moves to grab Dear Spirit. He grins maliciously as he closes in, telling her to surrender and become their slave. Distracted from his own fight, Snake Shadow cries out her name in alarm. He grits his teeth in frustration, annoyed by the leopard beastman's resilience. The beastman easily catches the small rock she throws in a desperate attempt to defend herself. But the rock is imbued with energy and explodes in his hand. He recoils, cursing her unexpected power. Humiliated and furious, he charges at her, his weapon aimed to kill. She calls on her system for a solution, but the analysis is grim. There is no strategic advantage. Her system is completely drained and unable to help. She feels utterly helpless. The enemy smirks triumphantly, confident that she is now his for the taking. At the last second, Snake Shadow intercepts the blow, his grip like iron on the attacker's leg. The attacker is shocked by his speed. Snake Shadow's promise of retribution is cold and absolute. He channels his power, and the attacker's leg is shattered with a sickening crunch. The cheetah beastman, seeing his comrade defeated, realizes they have miscalculated and decides to retreat. But the young warrior, driven by vengeance, refuses to let his mother's killer escape. With the danger past, Snake Shadow's tough facade crumbles as he rushes to her side, hiding his own injuries. She moves to embrace him, but he stops her, stepping back and warning her away. He looks down at himself, stained by battle, and insists he is too dirty to touch her. She gently touches his face, dismissing his concern. To her, he is anything but dirty. She intertwines her fingers with his, her voice soft as she tells him he is handsome. She knows her own safety is a direct result of his constant protection and sacrifice. Overcome with emotion, she kisses him deeply, marveling at how anyone could fail to love him. She pulls back, her expression serious as she prepares to tell him something from the heart. She finally puts her deepest feelings into words, a confession of unconditional love for him, no matter what. He returns her affection with equal passion, confessing his own feelings for her. Lost in the moment, he suggests they take the next step and start a family together. The retreating enemy leader sees an opportunity in their distraction and decides to strike. He shifts his target to the original heroine, hoping to seize her before her protectors can react. He snatches the heroine, ordering her to come with him without a struggle. The system cries out in alarm, aware that the plot is going terribly wrong. The young warrior intercepts the villain once again, blocking his path of escape. The villain is infuriated by this persistent interference from the young warrior. Suddenly, another hand clamps down on the leader's shoulder. Wounded, he turns to see who else has dared to challenge him. His fury boils over, and he vows to slaughter every last one of them. Snake Shadow stands impassively behind him, his voice calm but laced with deadly intent. He raises his fist, preparing to deliver the final blow. In a desperate gamble, the leader reveals a shocking secret, baiting the young warrior, leopard-bound, with information about his lost mother. The revelation hits leopard-bound with stunning force, leaving him confused and shaken. Seeing the boy's reaction, the leader knows he has found his leverage. He prepares to make his escape, using the secret of the boy's mother as his shield. The young warrior begs Snake Shadow to stand down. Snake Shadow apologizes, but insists the safety of the group comes first. Even the jealous young patriarch shows compassion, trying to console the heartbroken leopard-bound. A warrior reports the other wanderers escaped. The young patriarch decides not to chase them, ordering the group to tend to their wounded. Leopard-bound clutches his chest, his world turned upside down. He used to believe his family was the most important thing. The young beastman is taken aback by Dear Leap's words of encouragement. He begins to realize that despite a difficult childhood, life might not be so terrible after all. A fire of determination ignites in his heart. He won't give up, he will hold on to faith. Dear Leap offers a gentle, reassuring smile. He is certain that the young man's hope to find his family will be fulfilled. He offers a promise of companionship on the quest, whether for an old family or a new one. The young beastman is moved by this unexpected kindness. He seems lost in thought, a slight blush on his cheek. The name the young patriarch used escapes him. The kitten-like boy fiercely declares his name, Leopard Bound. His companion is charmed by the energetic introduction. Her bandaged hand is gently held, a soft inquiry about any other injuries hanging in the air. The woman worries intensely. She fears losing her mate forever if Leopard Bound and Dear Leap fail to stop the wandering orcs. He feels the sting of his own perceived weakness, believing he is not a good enough male. But Dear Spirit gently comforts him, absolving him of any blame for the accidents. In the orc world, strength is everything, and he feels he has failed. He is determined not to be outpaced by that stinky kitten. A steely resolve hardens his features. He will not allow himself to be weak again. She encourages him to simply try to be better. In this moment of closeness, she commits her life to him. With a kiss, she places her complete trust in him. From now on, she will follow Snake Shadow's counsel. Watching the pair's intimacy stirs a bitter jealousy within him. He resolves to find a way to drive them apart. The young patriarch issues a summons. He needs Snake Shadow and Lu Ling to report on the status of the female tiger beast they were pursuing. Their private moment is broken, and his displeasure is plain. The interruption is unwelcome. He confronts the stranger with suspicion. Her identity and her motives for luring the dangerous orcs are demanded. The woman introduces herself as Tigress Jade. Her tale begins 15 days ago with the solitary discovery of a salt lake. The memory of her excitement is vivid. Finding the salt lake meant prosperity and independence for her clan. She hadn't realized she was being followed. The wandering orcs saw their opportunity and sent word to their leader. Their methods were cruel and effective. Poison stripped her clan of their ability to fight back. She relives the massacre of her entire clan. Her family and friends were cut down before her eyes. She was the only one left, but they did not let her go. Only their intervention saved her from the exhausting 10-day pursuit. Dear Spirit observes with a knowing sense. The heroine's tragic backstory is as beautiful and powerful as expected. Tigress Jade shrewdly makes her proposal. She offers to lead them to the precious salt lake, a resource they desperately need. The tribe members are electrified by the news. They see the salt lake as the key to their future and urge the patriarch to seize the chance. The patriarch is torn. A prior commitment to the rock salt tribe prevents him from accepting the tempting offer. The threat is clear. The wandering orcs have discovered the lake. They will exploit it to grow stronger. He looks at her with piercing skepticism. He suspects this is merely a ploy to use them for her own revenge. He flatly refuses her offer. Their priority is the rock salt tribe's awakening ceremony, a duty they cannot forsake. The young patriarch disagrees. He argues that a salt lake is too valuable to ignore, and the wandering orcs are a common enemy. She observes the predictable turn of events. Just as in the story, the other orcs rally to the heroine's cause. He concedes that Snake Shadow is right. Their tribe's unawakened warriors must take precedence. He makes his decision clear to Tigress Jade. Their path is set for the rock salt tribe, but she can travel with them or leave. This isn't how the story was supposed to go. Dear Spirit wonders if the heroine will accept this new path. Tigress Jade coolly accepts, pointing out the inevitable. The wandering orcs will seek revenge, leaving them no choice but to confront them later. The heroine's agreement is an unexpected twist. She actually went along with it. He realizes his error in judgment. The order is given to prepare for the journey to the rock salt tribe immediately. But the Lion Lord protests, insisting he cannot leave just yet. The patriarch is confused. Lion Lord claims he is essential for the coming fight, but his injury hinders him. He demands Dear Spirit use the Beast God Stone to heal his wound. She is caught in a difficult position. His words a heavy reminder of the debt she owes him. He twists the situation, arguing that she is responsible for his injury. The crowd murmurs in agreement, pressuring her to give up the stone. The pressure mounts from the tribe. They accuse her of cruelty for withholding the cure. Snake Shadow shields her from the demands. He accepts responsibility on her behalf, but draws a line at the Beast God Stone. But the stone is his only demand. It is a price Snake Shadow cannot pay, for it is the key to her future as a priest. Leopard Bound joins the line of defense, declaring his own failure to protect his sister. He offers recompense, with the same single exception. Deer Leap steps between them, adding his own name to the list of protectors. He, too, feels responsible for her safety. He turns away, denying any genuine protective instinct. He claims he just can't stand to see her so helpless. The patriarch offers a compromise. The arm can still be healed after she becomes a priest, though it will be far more difficult without the stone's power. He offers himself in her place. He will bear the burden of the debt to the Lion Lord. The tribe's opinion shifts. A powerful priest is worth more than one warrior's arm, and they pledge to care for the injured Lion Lord. He seethes with resentment. He blames her for his humiliation, believing she has turned the entire tribe against him out of spite. He convinces himself this is deliberate revenge for his past indifference. If his arm doesn't heal, he vows to make her pay. Addressing the tribe, she explains her position. The Beast Godstone is a vital resource they cannot afford to lose before the journey to the Salt Lake. However, she accepts her debt. She offers a different solution, her Sound Priest healing to stabilize his wound. He is floored by her offer. After all his demands and anger, her willingness to help is a complete shock. His motives were selfish, but the fact remains he was hurt saving her. She simply wants to settle the debt. She promises to do everything in her power to restore his arm. He is stunned into silence by her grace. Her music washes over him, a soothing balm for his wounds and his spirit. An unprecedented calm settles in his heart. In this moment of healing, his perception shifts entirely. He is struck by how beautiful she truly is. The onlookers are moved by her kindness, noting the stark contrast with his earlier behavior. They recognize her admirable character. The healing is complete for now, his immediate danger averted. She vows this is not the end of her efforts to help him. With a final reassurance, her strength gives out and she collapses. A wave of panic spreads as she falls. Snake Shadow catches her just in time, her name a frantic cry from her brother's lips. Her body is limp, the vital energy within her completely depleted. She has the talent, but not the training, and the healing cost her everything. He misinterprets her sacrifice as proof of lingering affection. A tiny, tearful spirit greets its host upon waking. She learns she didn't just sleep, she fainted. Her system updates her on the tribe's activities in her absence. The system reports a strange change in Lion Lord's behavior since her collapse. He's become obsessed, constantly mentioning her name. The little spirit issues a warning about Lion Lord's scheming, a sentiment mirrored by Tigress Jade's scornful glance. She dismisses his behavior as simple regret. Her mind is on a greater problem. The story's plot is diverging from its original course. Her novel's mind is on a script, where the fight was meant to separate Aerith Snake Shadow and Tigress Jade. According to the plot she knows, this separation was the catalyst for their romance. He was supposed to fall for her while nursing her back to health. The system offers a simple, world-shattering explanation. The so-called heroine isn't the true one, because the host might not be from this world. The revelation hits her with the force of a physical blow. She presses for an explanation, but the little system clams up, claiming ignorance. The spirit flees, terrified of the punishment for revealing forbidden knowledge. As the spirit vanishes, she's left with a terrible, lingering question about the life and people she left behind. A flashback reveals the original deer spirit's history. After a tribal sacrifice, she had changed completely. He remembers his vow to protect her, a bond that should have been unbreakable, yet somehow became strained. Seeing these memories gives her a sudden, dawning comprehension of the situation. Consciousness returns, but her gaze is distant and unfocused. Snake Shadow's concern is immediate. He gently checks her condition, his voice laced with worry. His confession of fear is raw and honest, and the depth of his emotion makes her tremble. He pulls her into a hug, begging her never to be so reckless with her own life again. His ultimatum is stark and absolute. He cannot live in a world without her. His words pierce her heart, a profound declaration of love. She echoes his desire, not just for them, but for everyone they care about to live and be well. He seals her words with a kiss, a promise that he will never let her go. As the couple shares a moment, the others comment on the meal, noting Snake Shadow's barbecue is particularly good. The two youths critique their own cooking skills, mutually agreeing there is room for improvement. One piece of meat is charred, a clear sign that technique requires practice. The taste is disappointing. The meat is bland, lacking any flavor. She understands the problem. Without salt or spices to mask it, the gamey taste is overwhelming. The salt is gone. He decides to make a high-speed run to the rock salt tribe to replenish their supply. Dear Leap appears with a pouch of salt, offering it to her under the flimsy pretext of a sudden allergy. She questions his strange excuse, and he grows impatient, pressing her to take the gift before he gets rid of it. She accepts the salt, but misinterprets his awkward kindness as a clumsy attempt to offload something he doesn't want. Her rejection wounds him. He doesn't understand why she refuses to accept anything from him. His frustration boils over. He confesses he did it all out of worry for her, calling her a fool for not accepting his help. Her laughter in the face of his outburst leaves him utterly bewildered. She smiles warmly, clarifying that she does want to reconcile, but she cannot accept his gifts as long as he acts like a stranger. Her words fill him with regret. He remembers the hurtful things he said and how much he must have wounded her. As he hangs his head in shame, she reaches out, telling him to let the past be past. Her only condition is that he stops calling her a fool. She reclaims their bond, insisting he call her sister from this day forward. They arrive at their destination, a large and bustling tribal settlement. This is the Rock Salt Tribe. She's impressed by its rapid development, which already resembles a small town. A negotiation is underway nearby. The price for a 3-day stay is being settled. Leopard Prophet, the man in charge, agrees to the current price, but warns of future inflation due to high demand. The patriarch directs his group to their lodgings. Rest is needed before tomorrow's ceremony and a visit to the market. She puts the pieces together. The man negotiating was their host, a landlord. Leopard Prophet leads the way, guiding the new arrivals to where they will be staying. He watches her, unable to look away, and a profound realization dawns on him. He is deeply in love with her. Regret consumes him. Had he not been so blind, he could have been the one beside her, not that disfigured male. He is subjected to the cruel mockery of onlookers. They ridicule his broken arm and question his worth as a male. Their taunts push him too far. He lashes out, a dangerous energy crackling in his hand. Another male intervenes, angered by the threat. The confrontation makes Lion Lord painfully aware of how much his injury has weakened him. He is easily overpowered and thrown to the ground, a harsh lesson in his new, diminished status. He desperately clings to his pride, insisting his injury was a noble sacrifice for her. His gaze falls on her, and his resolve hardens. The Beast Godstone is the only way back to his former strength, and, he believes, to her side. His desperate, greedy stare does not go unnoticed. Tigress Jade confronts him directly, seeing the selfish villain beneath his pining. She calls him out on his scheme to use the other female. He frantically defends himself, framing his ambition as love. How can he win her affection if he remains weak? She deconstructs his twisted definition of love, calling it selfish and parasitic. He seems genuinely confused, as if that's all love is for. She lectures him on the true nature of love, a selfless act of giving. By this standard, he is utterly unworthy of her. The path to her heart, she explains, is through genuine sincerity. The concept seems to slowly dawn on him. The next day, the visiting orcs line up to receive their meal. He protests his meager portion, only to be coldly informed of the rule. Disabled orcs don't get meat. The humiliation continues. He is denied food, dismissed as a useless burden on the tribe. The reality of his situation sinks in. Without the ability to contribute, he faces the grim prospect of starvation. He sees her sitting alone, and a new thought takes root. He assumes she, too, is hungry. He walks over to her, his own small meal in hand. In a surprising act of selflessness, he offers her his own portion. Just then, Snake Shadow arrives, bearing a large, perfectly roasted piece of meat just for her. He's not the only one. Her brother and Dear Leap arrive with more food, each vying for her attention and insisting their offering is best. She is overwhelmed by the mountain of food, protesting that she can't possibly eat it all. Her protectors laugh, encouraging her to eat up. They all prefer her healthy and well-fed. She finally turns back to the Lion Lord, but the moment has passed. His small gesture is overshadowed. She offers him a piece of her specially prepared food, a kind gesture that leaves him stunned. This small act of kindness is a revelation. He sees the truth in Tigress, Jade's words, and vows to earn her love through sincerity. Her system is baffled by his sudden change, but she knows better. For him, it is already too late. She realizes with a jolt what this means. The Lion Lord is beginning his redemption arc. She recalls his past cruelty, the insults he hurled at her. The memory is still sharp. Tigress Jade catches her, remarking on how surprisingly light and thin she is. A simple question, laced with genuine concern. She stammers an introduction, but Tigress Jade already knows who she is, a warm smile on her face. Snake Shadow appears, instantly possessive. He finds Tigress Jade's presence and her gaze on Dear Spirit deeply unsettling. She gently admonishes him, explaining that the woman was only helping her. She offers a sincere, grateful smile to her new acquaintance. Tigress Jade finds her politeness refreshing. She definitely prefers her to her overprotective companion. A shy young orc, lost in her own world, accidentally bumps into her and starts to apologize profusely. Suddenly, another female appears, demanding the apology. This is Fox Brilliant of the Rock Salt tribe. She launches into a tirade, insulting the girl's poverty and her perceived slight against a new dress. She then orders her entourage to attack. The terrified girl pleads for mercy, begging them not to hurt her. Dear Spirit intervenes, placing herself between the bullies and their victim. Fox Brilliant questions her interference, but Dear Spirit calmly turns the accusation back on her. It was Fox Brilliant's group that caused the stumble. She adds insult to injury, agreeing with the girl's supposed assessment of the gaudy dress. It's an eyesore. Enraged and humiliated, Fox Brilliant accuses her of mockery and contempt. Before she can act, Dear Leap seizes her wrist with a chilling threat. Leopard Bound silently backs him up. She is stunned by the wall of male protection surrounding the single female. She lashes out with a new tactic, accusing Dear Spirit of being jealous of a special gift from her partner. The accusation is baffling. Fox Brilliant explains it away as simple envy, the classic sour grapes. She flaunts her high-status mate and his rare gift, condescendingly offering scraps to the other girl if she grovels. But the timid girl silently produces her own piece of the very same gauze, leaving Fox Brilliant speechless. To her fury, this piece is clearly superior. The quiet girl dismisses the gauze as nothing special, rubbing salt in the wound. At that moment, Snake Shadow appears, presenting Dear Spirit with a new dress made of an even higher grade gauze. He asks if she likes it, and she's stunned by the unexpected gift. He reveals his intention. This is for her, a gift he hopes she'll wear when they formalize their bond. She pictures herself in the dress, imagining being so thoroughly claimed by him that she carries his scent. Her protectors close ranks, telling the bully that what she flaunts is nothing. They can and will give their female so much more. Defeated and outmaneuvered, she has no choice but to retreat. She leaves with a parting shot, her jealousy twisting into a vile insult. She vows to get her revenge at the ceremony. Her mind is set on retribution. She will make her pay tenfold for today's humiliation. The day of the ceremony arrives. Entry requires a ticket proving a material contribution to the host tribe. Dressed in her beautiful new gown, she is dazzled by the sheer size of the crowd gathered for the event. Eager to proceed, she urges him to be careful as they navigate the throng. He teases her about her excitement, but she reflects that wearing his scent finally makes her understand a peculiar modern concept. The dress, saturated with his scent, creates an intoxicating illusion of his constant presence. The intimate scent is overwhelming, stirring feelings that leave her breathless. She tries to rein in her wandering thoughts, flustered by her own reaction. To distract herself, she focuses on her surroundings, admiring the strong tribal style of the ceremonial grounds. He explains the ritual. The priests will ascend the platform to invoke the blessing of the beast god upon the participants. This blessing will unlock the warrior potential in those who possess the talent. Her brother approaches, a gift in hand and a serious look on his face. He places a crown of flowers on her head, vowing to awaken as the strongest warrior. Then, almost too quietly to hear, he adds his true motivation: to protect her. Her affectionate praise makes him blush from the tips of his ears to his neck. He flees in embarrassment, leaving her to feign innocence to her curious system. She was only enjoying a moment of teasing with her tsundere brother. Taking his official position, he calls for the next participant in line, but as he reaches for the contribution ticket, an arm blocks his way. A rival official declares him disqualified. This dear beast is an adult, exceeding the newly instated age limit. He argues against the sudden change, but the official simply states that the rules have been revised. He returns to his group with the bad news. The rules have been altered, and he is no longer eligible to participate. The patriarch is enraged by the broken agreement. The official gives a flimsy excuse about needing to filter out less promising candidates. The official and Fox Brilliant stand together, smugly confirming their scheme. As the oldest, he is the natural choice for elimination. She immediately recognizes the culprits. It's the same woman who bullied the girl yesterday. The patriarch refuses to accept this. He knows Dear Leap's potential and is determined to get him into the ceremony. He offers more materials, even a tenfold payment, but the official is unmoved. The rejection is personal. She realizes the truth. This isn't about her brother. This is an attack aimed directly at her. The cat-eared woman offers a backhanded compliment, her condescending words meant to establish dominance. She boasts of her powerful mate, a clear attempt to intimidate her rival. She gloats, anticipating the sweet satisfaction of watching her enemy's brother fail. Crossing her carries a heavy price, and she intends to collect. Despite the accusations of being vicious and shameless, she remains smugly confident in her actions. She believes that sometimes dirty methods yield the most positive results. A wave of despair washes over her as she witnesses her rival's superior ability. She feels powerless, realizing her brother Dear Leap's only chance at awakening is about to be stolen away. The small spirit reminds her of the immense power and respect that comes with being a priest. Such a status would grant her safety, freeing Snake Shadow from the burden of her protection. A new determination fills her eyes. She will no longer be a victim. To protect herself and ease Snake Shadow's burden, she must become a priest and asks Zayadu for guidance. Her hope is immediately tempered by a harsh reality. The path to priesthood is long and difficult, requiring formal training that would take too much time to save Dear Leap. Since she can't overpower her rival directly, she'll find another way to make her pay. She resolves to dig up dirt, certain that someone in the Rock Salt tribe must have a grudge. Just as she despairs, a powerful figure arrives, the priest of the Rock Salt tribe. He senses a talented individual in the crowd, and his gaze seems to search for the source. The awakening ceremony is in full swing, a mix of joyous triumph and panicked despair. While one warrior celebrates their newfound power, another worries that time is running out. Miraculously, Dear Leap opens his eyes, awash in a brilliant light. He can feel the power coursing through him. He has successfully awakened as a warrior. He turns to his sister, his heart swelling with pride and purpose. Now a warrior, he vows to grow strong enough to protect her from any harm. Relief washes over her, but a hint of strain lingers in her expression. She offers a simple, heartfelt agreement, hiding the true cost of this miracle. The strain becomes too much, and she stumbles, her heart aching from the effort of using her powers. The priest, Peacock Glory, catches her just as she begins to fall. He holds her gently, his gaze filled with concern as he takes in her pallor. He questions her sudden weakness, sensing something is amiss. She dismisses his concern, blaming the stuffy crowd for her condition. She resolves to keep her secret, believing a little rest is all she needs to recover. Peacock Glory's expression is unconvinced. He watches her carefully, his eyes questioning the truth of her simple explanation. She affirms her lie, though her hesitation is palpable. The surrounding crowd is abuzz, surprised that the great priest Kwayo has lingered after the ceremony. Another woman approaches, eagerly thanking the priest for her brother's successful awakening. She boasts of his brightest orange light, her words unknowingly creating a new puzzle. Dear Leap overhears and is instantly confused. He distinctly recalls his own awakening being a vibrant, colorful light, not the simple orange the woman described. Ignoring the fawning admirers, Peacock Glory corners Dear Spirit. With the ceremony concluded, he insists it is time for the private chat she owes him. He reveals his leverage, her brother's unique chromatic awakening. She understands immediately, this isn't a request, it's blackmail. Suddenly, Snake Shadow is there, shielding her from the priest's piercing gaze. He declares their business concluded and flatly denies the priest's authority to speak with her alone. Peacock Glory's pleasant demeanor vanishes, replaced by irritation. He questions the overbearing nature of her tribe's males, making it clear he considers Snake Shadow's interruption an insult. Snake Shadow's anger flares at the accusation. He challenges the priest's own conduct, questioning if his high-handed demands are not the very definition of rudeness. The air crackles with hostility as the two alpha males face off. Threats of death are exchanged, each man utterly confident in his ability to destroy the other. Dear Spirit steps between them, her voice calm but firm. She sides with her protector and formally rejects the priest's proposal, leaving no room for argument. Peacock Glory concedes, his expression unreadable. He accepts her refusal for the moment, but it feels more like a tactical retreat than a surrender. But as he leaves, he delivers a final, chilling promise. He declares their meeting inevitable, a threat of fate she cannot escape. Snake Shadow notes that the priest ultimately backed down from a direct conflict. With the awakening ritual complete, he announces it is time for them to depart. The young patriarch expresses his concern for their cargo and asks for Snake Shadow's protection. Snake Shadow hesitates, his gaze betraying his reluctance to leave Dear Spirit's side. Dear Leap steps forward, his new confidence radiating. He assures them he can handle it, eager to prove the worth of his newly awakened warrior talent. Despite Dear Leap's enthusiasm, the patriarch insists on Snake Shadow's involvement, citing his strength and experience. With a simple word of agreement, Snake Shadow accepts his duty. He turns to Dear Spirit, his touch gentle as he tells her to return to her residence with her brother. He promises a swift return, and she quietly accepts. As she watches them go, a flicker of suspicion crosses her face. Her intuition tells her something is wrong, her thoughts lingering on two sneaky individuals. In the shadows of the forest, a conspiracy unfolds. One man speaks of past failures and alliances, suggesting now is the time to eliminate a rival tribe, especially with their powerful new warrior. The head of the bald wolf tribe listens intently, his expression grim. He wastes no words, simply demanding to hear the proposed plan of attack. The transaction is complete, 100 bags secured. The command is given to load the cargo and prepare to move out. Their business concluded, the group begins their journey. Their next destination is Salt Lake. The leader turns to Tigress Jade, seeking her knowledge of the path ahead. He needs details about the route and the lands surrounding the Salt Lake. Leopard Bound is given his orders. Lead the newly awakened back to the tribe. He objects fiercely, his desire for revenge against the wandering orcs overriding his sense of duty. He knows taking the new fighters along would be dangerous, but his loyalty is torn. He argues for their safety while also confessing his own desire to stay and protect Dear Spirit. The decision falls to Snake Shadow, but he is lost in thought, his face unreadable. He remains silent, forcing his companion to call his name in an attempt to break his reverie. His companion finally gets his attention, shaking him slightly. He asks what has captured his thoughts so completely. A mutual sense of unease connects them even when they are apart. He has a bad feeling, while she feels certain that two familiar figures are plotting something terrible. Dear Leap gently takes his sister's hand, urging her to return to the safety of the cave. They must wait for Snake Shadow there, just as he instructed. She ignores his advice and pulls him along instead, a determined glint in her eyes. She tells him to follow, but to keep his distance. Hiding just out of sight, the siblings listen as the plotters continue their discussion. The teal-haired man reveals that his spies have returned with valuable information. A smug smile plays on his lips as he lays out the enemy's strategy. They've divided their forces. One group transports the goods, while the other has vanished. The true opportunity lies in the division. All the powerful warriors are with the missing team, leaving only the newly awakened juniors to guard the precious supplies. It's the perfect time to strike. The wolf chief voices his concern, questioning the intel and fearing the power of Snake Shadow. But his partner is confident, revealing an inside man among the enemy's cooks. He promises his ally that the female will soon be his. The vision of their success is grim. Snake Shadow, poisoned and incapacitated, leaving her completely vulnerable. A sudden noise alerts him, and he spins around, his eyes locking onto their hiding place. He instantly recognizes the woman and her newly awakened brother. The command is given, capture them. Without a moment's hesitation, Dear Leap grabs his sister's hand and yells for her to run. She struggles to keep pace, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Fleeing has never been one of her talents. Their pursuers are closing in, capture seeming inevitable. He looks back with grim determination while she can barely go on. Realizing they cannot let the witnesses escape, the plotters unleash a deadly magical assault. Their intent is clear. This is a fight to the death. An attacker grabs Dear Leap, but even in capture, his thoughts are of his sister. He struggles, yelling at her to run and call for help. Tears well in her eyes as his words sink in. He's right. She must abandon him for now if there is any hope of saving him. She runs desperately and spots a wooden house in a clearing ahead. A surge of hope makes her cry out for help. Her path is immediately blocked by two guards. They sternly order her to leave, declaring the building a tribal powerhouse off-limits to outsiders. She begs them for sanctuary, explaining that her life is in danger. The guard is unmoved, repeating his order to leave regardless of her reasons. A voice from within overrules the guards, commanding them to let her enter. The guards protest, confused, reminding their master of his explicit orders not to be disturbed by anyone. The word priest catches her by surprise. She wonders what it could possibly mean in this context. From the doorway, Peacock Glory emerges, a triumphant smile on his face. He announces that his awaited honored guest has finally arrived. It was all a trap. Back in the forest, the pursuers are left confused. The conspirator berates his subordinate for letting the female get away. The subordinate stares into the distance, his eyes wide with recognition. He has spotted Priest Peacock Glory. Peacock Glory now acts as her shield, turning on his supposed ally. He publicly accuses the man of abusing his authority and colluding with rival tribes. He commands his guards to seize the traitors. He intends to present them to the patriarch as proof of his poor judgment in choosing allies. Now captured, the conspirator pleads his innocence. He tries to frame the situation as a simple tribal squabble that doesn't concern him. Peacock Glory scoffs at the blatant lies, disgusted by the cowardice. He dismisses the man as rubbish and gathers power in his hand, ready to deliver judgment. Enraged by the humiliation, the captive spits curses at Peacock Glory. He vows that even in defeat, he will make the priest pay. With the immediate threat contained, she rushes to her brother's side. Her only concern now is whether he is injured. He blushes at her concern, trying to brush it off as nothing. He insists he is fine, though his face betrays a hint of pain. With a stubborn pout, he insists she come closer. She questions his stubbornness as she tries to inspect his wounds, but he resists her attempts to check on him. She ignores his protests and finds the wound he was trying to hide. He looks away, clearly pained and embarrassed that he couldn't protect himself. A gentle smile graces her lips as she reassures him. It is only a minor injury, nothing for him to worry about. He disagrees, his expression grave. He knows they were lucky this time, but he can't shake the fear of what might happen if they aren't so fortunate again. Peacock Glory watches the siblings, his thoughts turning inward. Their concern for a minor scrape seems trivial compared to the injury he himself sustains. Guilt gnaws at him. He cannot forgive himself for his failure to protect her. Desperate, he turns to the only person with the power to help. He asks the priest if he can cure his sister, still unaware of her true condition. The priest ignores his request and instead heals Dear Leap, who is still bound. He declares the wound cured, much to the young warrior's protesting confusion. She playfully takes hold of his antlers, a cheerful smile on her face. She encourages him to accept the priest's help so he can heal faster. She insists it was a waste of the priest's power for such a minor wound. In her mind, his well-being comes first, no matter the cost. Peacock Glory looks on, amused by their bickering. He cuts them off, announcing that it is finally time for his private chat with the sister. As he leaves, Dear Leap offers a parting warning. He advises the priest to be quick, implying that his brother-in-law will not tolerate any funny business. He pauses for a final moment of reassurance, promising to be right outside. He tells her to call for him if anything feels wrong. With the protective brother gone, the priest can finally begin his interrogation. He casually asks what she would like to discuss, before pointedly suggesting the topic of her origins. He leans closer, his voice low as he addresses her by an ancient, powerful title. This confirms he knows far more than he should. His words hit her like a physical blow. She realizes he isn't asking about her tribe, but the world from which she came. A memory flashes through her mind, a life in a different world, wearing a school uniform. He knows about her true home. She shoves him away in a panic, her mind racing. She desperately asks her system how he could possibly know her true identity, a secret that should be impossible for anyone here to discover. Her companion offers little comfort. She knows that if an ordinary person discovered her secret, it might be manageable, but this particular man knowing spells certain disaster. A wave of terror washes over her as she reaches out for her only confidant, her voice a desperate plea. He moves with lightning speed, catching her before she can back away. He questions who she was just speaking to, and she stammers a denial, her panic growing. He sees right through her lie, calling her out on it directly. She inwardly curses his sharp perception, realizing he's far too observant for his own good. She decides she must regain control of the situation. Pushing his hand away, she confronts him, demanding to know what he is truly asking. She coolly challenges his behavior, questioning if it is proper for a priest to be so forward. She sets a firm boundary, threatening to end the conversation if he oversteps again. With a confident air, she reminds him that he was the one who sought this meeting, not her. She can walk away at any time. Inwardly, she trembles with uncertainty, hoping her bluff is convincing. Her companion, however, is ecstatic, cheering on her powerful and arrogant display. Her display does not intimidate him, it amuses him. He notes with interest that even this good-tempered creature has a breaking point when pushed too far. He drops the pretense and returns to his line of questioning. He states plainly that he knows she is not from this world and is about to reveal her true identity. She holds her breath, her heart pounding in her chest. With nervous anticipation, she asks him to finish his sentence. The truth he reveals is far stranger than she imagined. He believes she is the reincarnation of a god. He speaks of the legendary beast god, a figure of immense power from millennia ago. He describes the beast god as the absolute master of the continent, whose will was the will of the world itself. But a great tragedy occurred. 10,000 years ago, the beast god was attacked and grievously wounded, vanishing from the world ever since. He explains the common belief that the god is merely recuperating. But his priestly senses tell him a darker truth. The beast god's presence has vanished from the world entirely. The ancient story captures her attention, and she finds herself asking about the cataclysmic event from all those millennia ago. He confesses that the full truth is lost. His knowledge comes only from fragmented accounts in ancient temple manuscripts. The records speak of a day of cosmic horror. When the god was attacked, the sky went dark, the world reeked of blood, and the very earth seemed to crack in mourning. It was a day of absolute terror for all living things. Every soul could feel the cold, encroaching presence of death. The high priest of that era gave the calamitous day a fittingly grim name: the mass sacrifice. The ancient history lesson is fascinating, but she fails to see the point. She asks him again what any of this has to do with her. He explains that he can sense a fundamental difference in her aura. She carries an immense, unnatural luck that sets her apart from everyone else. She internally questions if her transmigration and her system are the source of this great luck. Her companion seems to dismiss the idea outright. She confronts him directly, demanding to know his true intentions. He admits he has a purpose for her, but swears it is not to harm her. He takes her hand, his touch surprisingly gentle. He looks her in the eyes and makes a solemn vow to protect her. He reveals the desperate truth: she is his destiny. A prophecy foretold that if he did not find her within a year, his own life would end. He kneels before her, pressing his lips to her hand in reverence. Calling her his goddess, he begs to be allowed to accompany her on her journey. The guards watch in disbelief from the doorway. They can't believe their priest is submitting to this foreign female and wonder how they should react. The freed conspirator sees his chance. He orders the guards to report this to the patriarch, framing it as the female luring away the tribe's most valuable asset. Meanwhile, Snake Shadow and the young patriarch depart. He offers words of reassurance, completely unaware of the drama unfolding behind him. He tries to push down his lingering unease, telling himself that dear spirit is safe under her brother's protection. But upon returning to the cave, they find it empty. A cold dread washes over Snake Shadow as he realizes she is gone. Dear Leap, ever the pragmatist, asks his sister to seriously consider the priest's offer. He sees the potential benefit of an alliance between their tribes. She emerges and delivers her answer directly to the priest. She will not risk war with his tribe for his personal quest unless he can offer a more compelling reason. He makes a final appeal, offering his strength as her follower. She scoffs at the offer, stating her own companion is sufficient and she has no need for a two-faced follower. She coolly informs him that she is not swayed by looks or empty charm. His attempts to manipulate her are pathetic and transparent. Her decision made, she turns to her brother, ready to leave. They must hurry back and warn the young patriarch about the Bald Wolf tribe's conspiracy. Just as they are about to depart, a harsh voice commands them to halt. Their escape is once again thwarted. It is the chief of the Rock Salt tribe, flanked by the very conspirator they exposed. He gives a chilling order: seize them and take them to the execution ground. Dear Leap stands his ground, accusing the chief of inciting war. The chief coolly deflects, suggesting they ask Peacock Glory for the reason behind the sentence. The priest seems conflicted, explaining that she refused his offer and he was leaving willingly. He insists they have no grounds to interfere. The chief twists his words, claiming he is simply protecting his priest from foreign deception. He once again orders the execution of the male who tricked him. Peacock Glory's patience finally snaps. He reminds them that his title is not just for show, he is a fighter, and he is done talking. But as he summons his power, he realizes with a jolt of panic that his reserves are empty. He exhausted himself during the awakening ceremony. Seeing the priest falter, Dear Leap throws himself in front of them both. He will not let them harm his sister or their new, powerless ally. His bravery is not enough. He is struck down in a single blow, and his sister cries out his name in anguish. Even as he falls, his only thought is for her safety. He uses his last breath to urge her to find Snake Shadow. The conspirator looms over her, a triumphant sneer on his face. He mocks her futile attempts to escape, savoring her complete and utter helplessness. He gives the final order to the chief: kill her. The chief readily agrees, his own power crackling in his hand. In a flash, Snake Shadow is there, deflecting the blow and catching her in his arms. She breathes his name, a mixture of shock and overwhelming relief. He holds her close, his eyes blazing with a cold fury. He issues a simple, deadly promise: anyone who dares to harm her will be erased. The rest of their companions arrive, appearing from the trees ready for battle. They are no longer outnumbered. The enemy chief tries to de-escalate through threats, warning the young patriarch of the consequences of warring with a powerful tribe that controls the salt mines. He adds a personal threat, reminding the young leader of his own father's wrath should he start a war for such a trivial reason. The threats hit their mark, and the young patriarch hesitates. He is torn between his duty to his tribe and his loyalty to his people. After a moment of conflict, his resolve hardens. He declares that his primary duty is to protect his people, not to bow to threats. He realizes what truly matters is her safety and happiness. He is willing to sacrifice his own future and status to protect her smile. He and his warriors take a defensive stance. They present a united front, declaring that their people are not to be harmed. As the battle erupts, Snake Shadow effortlessly blocks an attack. Peacock Glory urgently warns her that this is not the right time or place for this war. Her companion echoes the sentiment, explaining that a full-scale battle now would be disastrous for both tribes, with no true victor. More importantly, their own tribe is not yet strong enough for war. They are in a crucial stage of development and cannot afford such a costly conflict. Taking the advice to heart, she calls for a ceasefire. She pleads with the enemy chief, suggesting they can resolve this misunderstanding through talk, not violence. The conspirator watches with alarm. If peace is negotiated, Peacock Glory will be free to pursue justice against him. He cannot allow them to negotiate. Desperate, he resolves to escalate the conflict himself. He unleashes a sinister purple energy, believing that more chaos is his only path to survival. The worse things get for everyone else, the better for him. In the heat of the moment, he forces a strange substance into Snake Shadow's mouth. Dear Spirit cries out in alarm as he immediately reacts. The villain gloats that he has fed him something to make him lose his mind. Snake Shadow clutches his chest, a horrifying realization dawning on him. It is the forbidden fruit, a potent aphrodisiac that forces snake beasts into an uncontrollable mating frenzy. He stumbles, pushing her away, begging her to leave. She refuses to abandon him, her voice filled with worry. He breathlessly explains the fruit's terrifying effect. His control snaps, and he pulls her into a tight embrace. She learns with horror that the frenzy will last for 3 days and nights, an unstoppable, primal urge. He gives in for a moment, his lips finding hers, before his will reasserts itself. He pushes her away again, his voice a strained plea for her to leave. The battle is lost. His beast form begins to manifest as he pulls her back, giving her one last, desperate warning. Run, unless she wants the inevitable consequence. The villain sees his plan has worked perfectly. With his strongest opponent incapacitated, he prepares to wipe them all out. She shields him with her own body, but even lost in his haze, his protective instincts take over. He intercepts the blast meant for her. The attack dissipates, but not before striking him. She calls his name, her eyes wide with shock and fear. The attacker is unfazed, confident that his victory is still assured. He proclaims that their deaths are imminent. He dodges the next attack, his movements fluid and instinctual, pulling her into a disorienting kiss to move them both out of harm's way. The attacker is shocked. He can't believe his opponent can still dodge attacks even after losing his mind to the poison. He attacks again, certain this blow will land. But Snake Shadow, now with his tail fully manifested, seems utterly unimpressed by the threat. A powerful aura erupts from Snake Shadow. He questions how the attacker could possibly believe he was ever truly helpless. The defiance is short-lived as he collapses against her, admitting the poison is too strong. The system explains he burned his own energy to fight, causing a dangerous backlash. She panics, desperately asking her system for a cure. There has to be a way to counteract this poison. Suddenly, her brother and another companion are there, stumbling towards her, their faces flushed. She realizes with horror they are afflicted as well. Leopard Bound reaches for her, his eyes glazed over. He struggles to speak, confirming her worst fears. He manages one final word: poisoned. All her male companions are now under the influence of the forbidden fruit, surrounding her. The little spirit despairs. They've fallen victim to a classic magical ambush, and all their protectors have been turned against them. A horrifying realization dawns on her. When Snake Shadow was fighting alone, none of his allies came to his aid. They were already incapacitated. The poison's effect is not limited to snake beasts. It works on all of them. And now, she is the sole focus of their uncontrollable desire. She glares with pure hatred at the victorious villain, the Viper who orchestrated this entire nightmare. Even her system declares the situation hopeless, but she refuses to surrender. She struggles, begging her companion to find a solution. Just as all hope seems lost, a familiar voice calls her name. Peacock Glory has returned. He offers a sliver of hope, the beast god's purification technique. But her heart sinks as she confesses she has no idea what that is. He steps behind her, his presence a strange mix of comfort and threat. He will teach her, he says, guiding her to channel the world's purest divine art. He tells her that this power is innate to her. He guides her hand to her forehead, instructing her to close her eyes and feel for it within herself. A swirling, pure energy gathers at her fingertips. He sees it, and with a single word, commands her to unleash it. The purification light washes over the men, freeing them from the poison's grip. They look around, confused, as Snake Shadow gives the priest a silent gesture of thanks. The light touches everyone, including their enemies. They look at their healed wounds in amazement, feeling the warmth of the magic. The enemy chief recognizes the power for what it is, a true miracle of the beast god. He stares in awe, wondering how this foreign female can wield power beyond that of even the highest priests. She stands before them, her power now undeniable. She declares her ability to heal any wound, turning the tables and warning them that a fight now would not be in their favor. She offers them a better path than war. Cooperation would benefit both tribes far more than pointless conflict. The choice, she says, is his. The chief's mind races, connecting the dots. He remembers Peacock Glory's strange quest to find someone connected to the lost beast god. He considers his alliance with the priest. While beneficial, Peacock Glory's constant, extravagant demands have bred resentment within his tribe. He compares the demanding priest to this new divine girl and her powerful followers. The choice is clear. She is a far more valuable asset. He bows his head in submission, accepting her as the will of the gods. But the cat-eared woman protests, outraged that he would let her go so easily. She screams wild accusations, claiming they murdered her mate and abducted the priest. She demands their execution to uphold the tribe's majesty. Snake Shadow steps forward, his gaze fixed on the chief. He challenges him directly, asking if these baseless accusations represent the will of his tribe. Flustered, the chief quickly dismisses her as hysterical. He orders his men to seize her, making his new allegiance perfectly clear. The patriarch's decision is met with shock and disbelief. He is confronted by his own people, as the pink-haired woman he's condemning loudly questions his authority, reminding him he tolerated her behavior in the past. The patriarch declares that Fox Brilliant will be detained for trial. He makes a public call for all the orcs she has bullied and hurt to present their evidence, promising them fair punishment for her crimes. Fox Brilliant panics, desperately pleading with the patriarch not to abandon her. She insists she is his most capable companion, her words laced with the fear of her impending downfall. One of the tribesmen has had enough of her entitlement. He strikes her, finally venting his long-suppressed anger at how she used her power to terrorize the tribe's females. The patriarch offers a strained apology for the trouble Fox Brilliant caused. He concedes that he will not try to stop the Lord Priest from leaving the tribe, a decision made with clear reluctance. The blonde woman pledges her devotion to Peacock Glory. Her faith is conditional, however, offered in exchange for a priest to perform the awakening ceremony for the Rock Salt tribe next spring. It is time for their departure. As Peacock Glory and his new followers begin their journey, the remaining tribesmen watch them leave, their mission now set. The departure of Priest Peacock Glory leaves his former devotees heartbroken. They weep openly, blaming the woman who has led their beloved priest away from them. Even after half a day's travel from the Rock Salt tribe, they are still being followed. Dear Spirit observes with a weary expression as a lone figure continues to pursue them from a distance. She notes his surprising popularity, but he dismisses it coolly. To him, the fervent emotions of his followers are nothing more than their own wishful fantasies. He reveals that his entire life as a priest has been a search for her, leaving no time for other females. He reminds her of his singular, dedicated cause, leaving her momentarily flustered by his focus. A protective companion squeezes between them, pushing Peacock Glory back. He curtly instructs the priest to move to the rear of the group and not to approach without an order. Peacock Glory responds with a condescending smirk. He questions the value of their cargo, deriding the boxes as empty and useless, clearly unbothered by the order. The white-haired man realizes his mistake with a pang of embarrassment. He'd forgotten the team was divided, and the goods were already on their way back to the tribe. He shoves the priest away again, determined to keep him at a distance. His motivation is clear. He won't let this malicious man steal Dear Spirit's attention. Peacock Glory leans in, calmly assuring the protector he means no harm to Dear Spirit. He then deftly shifts the subject, reminding the warrior of how different his own awakening was. The warrior is momentarily confused by the priest's words, then a memory surfaces. He recalls his awakening, a moment when he was bathed in a distinctly different kind of power. The priest points out his weakness. As a junior fighter, his talent is limited. He offers a path to rapid improvement, but it comes with the condition of total obedience to his methods. He justifies his trustworthiness by reminding them he used the last of his magic to save them all. A brief, chilling memory flashes of him commanding their enemies to their doom. He recalls casting his final spell. His only hope was that the dwindling magic would be enough to bring back the male he deemed unsightly, but necessary. He turns to the dark-haired man, taking full credit for his timely arrival. Without his intervention, he asserts, the other would have been too late. The man remains stoically silent. His companions are visibly repulsed by the priest's arrogance. The white-haired warrior dismisses his claims as a disgusting joke, his contempt palpable. Now that the matter is resolved, he leans close to Dear Spirit and suggests he deserves to be rewarded for his efforts. He then slyly asks what she plans to offer her other followers. The young leopard man shoves the priest aside, demanding a simple reward for his own meritorious deeds. All he wants for protecting his sister is a pat on the head. He then turns to the priest, innocently asking if Uncle Priest also gets head pats. The question is a subtle, effective jab at the priest's age and status. The priest explodes with indignation at being called uncle, retorting that he's very well maintained. The young leopard's feigned innocence only adds to the insult. The two protectors stand united against the priest. They argue that Leopard Bound's silent, constant guardianship far outweighs the priest's contribution, leaving him sputtering. Feeling cornered, the priest turns to Dear Spirit for validation, asking if she shares their opinion. She simply hides a giggle, offering him no support. Leopard Bound confidently drapes an arm over the priest's shoulders, certain his kind sister would never agree with such a cold assessment. The priest is visibly tense and unhappy with the contact. He gets closer, his tone turning serious. He reminds the priest that since he chose to follow Dear Spirit, he has an obligation not to cause her any trouble. She cheerfully waves goodbye as her two companions drag the protesting priest away. She seems perfectly content to let them handle the situation. She muses to her system companion that this world is far more exciting than she expected. It's surprising that Dear Leap and Leopard Bound, not her usual protectors, were the ones to challenge the peacock priest. He observes that jealousy used to be Snake Shadow's domain. Now, with Dear Spirit's excellence attracting more attention, New protectors like Deer Leap and Leopard Bound are stepping up to handle the threats. For now, he can stand back. With these new protectors emerging, he understands it is not yet his time to intervene. He quietly asks if they should be on their way, and she agrees with a soft affirmation. For a moment, they are lost in each other's gaze, the world around them fading away. Suddenly, a woman with pink hair drops down from a tree, calling out to Dear Spirit with urgency. Her arrival is unexpected. The woman, Tigress Jade, offers her a piece of fruit with a welcoming smile. Dear Spirit is taken aback by the friendly gesture. She accepts the fruit with a stammered thanks. The woman simply encourages her to taste it, her expression open and kind. Her companion intervenes, knocking the fruit away. He declares it unsuitable for his female and feels a sense of danger from this woman that surpasses even the threat of peacock glory. The woman questions his hostility, claiming her intentions are friendly. He coldly dismisses her, stating that of the many who seek proximity to his mate, she is by far the least qualified. He bluntly calls her a foreigner, a clear sign of distrust. Dear Spirit tries to mediate, assuring him that Tigress Jade's intentions are not malicious. The woman takes Dear Spirit's arm, remarking that her mate is far too controlling. The unwanted physical contact and commentary make Dear Spirit visibly uneasy. She makes a bold proposition: join her tribe and take their bravest warrior. In return, she promises Dear Spirit will become the most favored and cherished female among them. Her companion retorts that he will cherish his own female. The two rivals begin to pull at a bewildered Dear Spirit, who is caught in the middle of their sudden conflict. An urgent shout cuts through the tension. A tribesman runs past, warning them to be on alert as they are nearing the salt lake discovered by Tigress Jade. They have arrived at their destination. The atmosphere is tense as he gravely announces that a difficult battle awaits them. A sense of unease settles over him. The silence is unnatural. He suspects the wandering orcs they came to fight are already gone. Tigress Jade is incredulous. It makes no sense for the orcs to abandon the salt lake after they fought so hard to claim it. Refusing to believe they are gone, she runs ahead, certain they are merely hiding. She is determined to find them. Her search is cut short as she finds herself at the edge of a murky mire. Dear Spirit identifies the unexpected terrain. It's a swamp. She explains the formation of the swamp. It is a natural process caused by high water levels, oxygen-deprived soil, and the decomposition of plant matter. Despite her logical explanation, a nagging feeling persists that something is fundamentally wrong here. She just can't place what it is. To get a better perspective, she asks Snake Shadow to lift her up. She wants to see what the lake originally looked like from a higher vantage point. He obliges without hesitation. As he lifts her into his arms, she urges him to hurry, eager to solve the mystery. Her elevated view confirms her suspicion. Just as she thought, the swamp is confined to only one specific area of the lake. This raises another question. She wonders why this single location is so much more humid than the surrounding forest and lake, suspecting something unique lies beneath. One of her companions cautions that this place is not safe to linger in. Recognizing the wisdom in his words, she agrees they should leave. She turns to her system for help. She instructs Xayadu to activate its scanning function to identify all nearby swamps. With a beep, Xayadu's scanning function powers on, its holographic interface materializing in the air. The scan is successful. Xayadu has found a safe path to circumvent the swamp entirely and offers to guide her, much to her relief. Just as they are about to proceed, Xayadu cries out for her to wait. The sudden alarm in its voice makes her freeze in her tracks. Seeing her abrupt halt and worried expression, Snake Shadow approaches with concern, asking her what is wrong. She relays the scan's chilling discovery. For hundreds of miles in every direction, there are no other living beings besides them. The implication of this news dawns on Tigress Jade with devastating force. If no one else is alive, then her tribe, her entire clan, is gone. She staggers backward, unable to accept the truth. She frantically insists that many of her people were still alive when she departed. Clinging to the hope that the females and cubs were spared, she dashes into the woods to find them, heedless of the calls to calm down. She is stunned by the revelation of the clan's demise. He calmly states that he already knew, prompting her to ask what he means. He brushes off her question, suggesting they leave this unsettling place first. He promises they can discuss her priestly skills later. Before they can move, A monstrous roar tears through the quiet forest. A terrifying silhouette with glowing red eyes emerges from the shadows, paralyzing her with fear. Reacting instantly, Snake's shadow grabs her hand and pulls her along. His only thought is to get her away from the emerging threat. In a panic, she asks her system to identify the creature. Zayadu reassures her that an automatic scan is already in progress. The scan results appear, and Zayadu's expression turns to one of pure, tearful shock. Whatever it has found is terrible. A massive appendage slams down where they just stood, the force of it shaking the ground. Carried in his arms, she can only scream as she glimpses the monster. Zayadu delivers its report. The creature is a salt beast. It's ancient, feeds on salt toxins, and most importantly, is not supposed to be aggressive towards people. As another attack comes flying at them, she questions the system's analysis. If the beast isn't meant to be hostile, then why is it trying to kill them now? Zayadu seems flustered and uncertain, struggling to reconcile its data with the reality of the violent attack. The system finally offers an explanation for the beast's aggression. It is extremely nearsighted. The beast abruptly halts its assault. As she wonders why, the system suggests its severe nearsightedness has caused it to lose track of them. Suddenly, the beast snatches Zayadu. The system's sound frequency analysis registers a new, alarming set of intentions: good looking and bring home. She watches in horror, completely baffled. Zayadu is supposed to be invisible to all other creatures, so how could this beast possibly have captured it? He pulls her into a reassuring embrace. Though she claims to be fine, her mind is racing with panic over the fate of her captured system. Flustered by his embrace, she tries to downplay her distress, stammering that she simply tripped and lost her balance. Her eyes fall upon a body lying motionless on the ground. She recognizes him as one of the wandering orcs who was supposed to have disappeared. The sight of the dead orc brings a horrifying realization. Now she understands what he meant before. There are no living people here because the living are now all dead. The system provides a final, grim analysis. The orc died from salt poisoning, as the lake is lethally toxic. However, a small patch of non-toxic salt exists nearby. The pieces click into place. The lake itself is a death trap. Her train of thought is shattered by a desperate cry for help from the captured Zayadu. A surge of power envelops her as she makes her resolve. She unleashes a ritual, commanding the salt beast to release her companion. Peacock Glory watches in alarm. He knows her body cannot withstand the strain of such a powerful ritual and yells for someone to stop her before it's too late. He grabs her arm, desperately trying to break her concentration. She looks at him with pleading eyes, explaining that the beast has taken the most important thing she has. He looks from her to the beast, utterly confused. He tells her he can't see anything, that the creature doesn't appear to be holding anything at all. The others confirm his observation. They see nothing either. A terrible realization dawns on her. She forgot. No one else can see Zayadu. She is trapped in an impossible choice. Saving Zayadu means revealing her greatest secret, her rebirth, and admitting she is not the person they believe her to be. Taking a deep breath, she turns to face them all. With grave determination, she prepares to confess the secret she has been hiding since she arrived. Tears well in her eyes as she forces out the truth she has guarded so closely. She admits she is not who they think she is, not the original owner of this body. Before she can say more, he gently places a finger on her lips, silencing her. He softly tells her that if it is her secret, she does not need to share it. Her white-haired protector offers his own quiet reassurance. His expression is one of complete faith as he tells her they believe in her, no questions asked. The young leopard offers his own unwavering support. If his sister says the monster stole something from her, then it's the truth, and that's all that matters. Their resolve is united. The logic is simple and brutal. If they kill the monster, the problem of the stolen item will be solved. The salt beast holds its tiny, invisible prize. Though no one else can see it, the creature clearly has no intention of letting Zayadu go. Snake's shadow powers up, his focus entirely on the monster. He gives a final warning that it will not be allowed to escape. Deer Leap joins the fray, striking the beast with his weapon. He shouts that his trust in her has never once wavered. Leopard Bound follows with his own attack, his voice ringing with conviction. He, too, has never doubted her. Peacock Glory begins an incantation. Holding a glowing orb, he calls upon the power of his god to aid them. As glowing script swirls around him, he casts his spell. He commands the beast's soul to be purified and its body to be surrendered. A man shouts for them to retrieve what was stolen, but the fight is already over. Xayadu has reappeared, safe and sound in her arms, crying with relief. Her companions approach, the immediate danger now past. They look from the spot where the beast vanished to her, asking for an explanation. She relays the basic information, but admits she doesn't understand its size. The priest corrects her. It wasn't a mere lake monster, but a rare, strange beast. He elaborates, explaining that an alien beast has begun to awaken. The term is unfamiliar to her, leaving her confused. He begins to explain ancient lore. The world was once home to rare, primitive orcs, fundamentally different from the common beasts because they could not reproduce. These creatures, known as alien beasts, are nearly immortal. They sustain themselves not on food, but on the negative emotions of orcs, or, in this case, on physical toxins. These beings once spread rampant panic across the continent, their reign of terror continuing unchecked until a pivotal event changed everything. That event was the arrival of the beast god. She processes the information, asking if these beasts have truly existed for so long. He confirms that they have, but most were eradicated long ago by the beast gods. She presses him on the source of his knowledge, as this lore should be long forgotten. As she speaks, the salt beast, now tiny, emerges from near her legs. Just as he is about to reveal his identity, seems to be the now looking for miniature, something salt beast leaps onto him, who can only stare, interrupting back the in bewilderment Momentu's confession. Seems to be the now looking for miniature something. Its gaze falls upon Xayadu, who can only stare, interrupting back the in bewilderment. Xayadu points frantically toward the creature, trying to get its host's attention. Something is wrong. Xayadu cries out in alarm. The salt beast has stolen its beast god stone. They must retrieve it at once. The tiny creature proves surprisingly agile. It effortlessly dodges the attempts of both Snake Shadow and Deer Leap to capture it, a look of fear on its face. Finally, Xayadu retrieves the stolen item. It triumphantly tells its host to punish the little thief and show it how powerful she is. The small beast cowers, looking afraid and hungry. Xayadu notes with surprise that the creature can change its size, speculating that it might be a mutated species. Xayadu is now furious, complaining to its host that the beast insulted it. Amused, she asks what the little creature called it. With great indignation, Xayadu declares that the beast called it pretty. The word is clearly an insult in its eyes. She finds the situation amusing, pointing out that pretty is a compliment. Her system vehemently disagrees, arguing such a term is inappropriate for a being of its stature. The salt beast affectionately tries to nuzzle a flustered Xayadu. The system struggles, demanding to be released before it gets truly angry. An aura of affection surrounds the two small creatures. The men can only watch in confusion as Deer Spirit tries to hide her amusement at the bizarre scene. Her companions are completely bewildered. They struggle to understand how the terrifying monster they just fought has transformed into this tiny, harmless-looking creature. They also heard the creature's cooing, misinterpreting its affection for Xayadu as praise for Deer Spirit's cuteness. She panics, realizing they think the creature was talking to her. She has no idea how to explain the situation without revealing her secret. Xayadu offers a simple solution: reveal itself. But she hesitates, worried that exposing its existence will put it in grave danger. The system senses the deep care her companions have for her. It believes that, on some level, they have already guessed at its existence, even without proof. While their trust prevents them from prying, the system can sense their underlying feelings of distance and loss from the secret she keeps. This inability to earn her complete trust leaves them feeling disconnected and unfulfilled in their roles as her protectors. He gently reassures her that explanations aren't necessary. His only concern is her safety. He just needs to know the little creature poses no threat. Her system reminds her of their devotion. Every one of her companions is dedicated to protecting her with everything they have. Moved by their unwavering loyalty and understanding, she makes a decision. This time, she will tell them the truth. She summons her companion. Xayadu materializes before the group, cheerfully introducing itself to the stunned audience. The men are speechless, wondering what this creature is and where it came from. Meanwhile, the salt beast continues its affectionate pursuit. With everyone seated, Zayadu takes center stage, ready to answer all of their questions and finally clear the air. After the explanation is complete, a sense of understanding settles over the group. The mystery is finally solved. She feels a wave of relief. Zayadu managed to explain itself without revealing her deepest secrets, and her companions accepted the new reality without a single doubt. The tiny salt beast continues its affectionate pursuit of Zayadu, making it clear it wants to stay with its newfound love. Dear Leap watches the interaction with a thoughtful expression. He notes that the salt beast's attitude towards Zayadu is like that of a suitor towards a partner. The idea of letting the beast join them is proposed, but Leopard-bound immediately objects, still concerned for his sister's safety. Yet his heart goes out to the small, lonely creature. The thought of it being left all alone in the wild is too much for his compassionate nature to bear. Zayadu offers a solution to the dilemma. It can teach its host how to form a binding contract with the salt beast, ensuring it becomes a loyal and helpful companion. Suddenly, his head whips around, his senses on high alert. He feels another presence nearby and demands that they reveal themselves. It is Tigress Jade, stepping out from behind the trees. A wave of anxiety washes over Dear Spirit as she wonders how much of their secret conversation the woman heard. The woman's gaze is fixed on the tiny creature, her voice filled with pain as she asks if it is responsible for her people's death. Dear Spirit tries to explain it was an accident. Sensing the woman's rising anger and intent, her companions move to stand between her and the small beast, ready to intervene. She points an accusatory finger, her suspicion hardening into certainty. She declares that they are all part of the same group. He steps forward, pushing her hand away from his mate. He coolly demands that she clarify what she means by her accusation. He states the truth bluntly. The ones responsible for her clan's death were not his mate, the beast, or even the wandering orcs they had blamed. She retorts in anguish that it cannot be true, because all the wandering orcs are already dead. The devastating truth finally sinks in. Her people died by accident, poisoned by the very lake they sought to control. Her quest for revenge is meaningless. She is crushed by guilt, believing it's all her fault. Had she never found the lake, none of this would have happened, and her people would still be alive. Dear Spirit approaches the weeping woman. She gently comforts her, assuring her that she is not to blame for the tragedy. She reminds her that no one can predict the future, and that her only intention was to help her tribe. The best tribute she can pay is to give them a proper burial. The others gather around, offering context. Wandering orcs, they explain, are exiles, criminals too powerful for their own tribes to execute. Cast out, these criminals band together in the wilderness. They survive by preying on others, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. One of them adds grimly that this group of wanderers is not unique. The world is filled with such evil, and countless others have suffered as she has. He makes a solemn vow to follow Dear Spirit and fight against these murdering beasts. He extends a hand to the grieving woman, inviting her to join their cause. They make it clear that the choice is hers alone. There is no pressure to join if she does not wish to. With newfound purpose, she embraces Dear Spirit. Through her tears, she accepts their offer, ready to join their fight to change the world. As the men begin the grim work of digging graves, the priest complains under his breath. He sees no reason why he should have to help bury this irritating woman's people. He inwardly fumes, suspecting he's been manipulated. The young patriarch clearly used him and Dear Spirit to indebt the woman and recruit her to their cause. She approaches him with concern, noticing his fatigue from the labor. She gently offers to take over so he can rest for a while. He takes her hand, but refuses her offer. He tells her to have faith in her men, assuring her the work will be finished soon. Eyes, proposition. Once reminds her this is what she said business is wanted concluded, will never let she her go again, wants them to return, and finally hold their companionship ceremony. He leans in for a kiss, thick with she makes a. Once reminds her this is what she said business is wanted, will never let she her go again. The young patriarch watches the intimate moment from a distance, his expression troubled. Duty is to the tribe, physical and pain a welcome requires him to act without emotion. Strikes a he tree, physical and pain a welcome requires him to act without emotion distracting from his inner turmoil. He berates himself for his jealousy, she belongs to his best friend. But he cannot lie to himself. He is completely captivated by her, and the ugly truth is that he wants to steal her from his friend. The desire is simple, overwhelming, and absolute. He wants her. He tells her to wait there and rest. He has work to finish, but promises he will return to her side shortly. While she waits, Tigress Jade approaches, observing her thoughtful expression and asking what she is doing. Her mind is already on the future. The slow work with wooden sticks has made her realize that their tools are too primitive. It's time to introduce iron smelting to their world. He has crafted a new tool from wood, a simple shovel. Though crude, the design is clever and will significantly improve their efficiency. She sees the potential in the simple wooden joint. With this technique, they can build water wheels, better houses, and usher in an era of agriculture, ending the fear of winter starvation. Overcome with emotion, Tigress Jade takes her hands, offering a sincere apology. She admits that she was ready to blame her for the tragedy. She is ashamed of her initial reaction and realizes she cannot allow such an injustice to stand. With humility and gratitude, she presses Dear Spirit's hand to her cheek, silently asking for forgiveness for her misplaced anger.